between the town of Star and Evant, north up Highway 281, kind of in this little triangle area here between FM 1047 up towards FM 2005 and east towards Highway 281. That is the big threat area right now. And again, with Adam's view there, you can see that big lowering there. That is the wall cloud of this storm. This storm has a significant wall cloud. And again, here's that update I was expecting from the National Weather Service. They have adjusted the tornado warning now to be more down to the southeast. This new tornado warning runs until 2:45. Let me get the very latest on this warning for you. It does include Evant. It does include Highway 84 from Evant eastward into Coryell County. So this one, right when the warning came out, tornado capable of producing a tornado 10 miles southwest of Hamilton, moving east at 25 miles per hour. Tornado and hail up to 2 inches in diameter are the two main threats with this thunderstorm. And I'm going to show you that hail threat real quick. I don't want to disregard that because Wednesday was a perfect example of how big the hail concern can be. So we've got, again, like I told you Wednesday, this is a little delayed product, but you can see that big hail core there. There's another one down in Mills County, and that's why the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the Mills County area. So our western county storms are blowing up quickly, kind of as we expected. Again, tornado warning in effect from, there's still the tornado warning for Hamilton County that runs for another 15 minutes. They just dropped it. So, let's go back to Adam. Adam, you're seeing a lot of lowerings there with the cloud. Anything confirming any rotation from what you're seeing right now?
Brandon, currently we're just 2 miles north of Evant, looking due northwest of this supercell, and right now we just have a rotating wall cloud. We do not have anything visually underneath at the moment, but that can change in literally a matter of seconds to minutes. So this is the first big classic sign of what we look for to see a tornado, is this big, large wall cloud, and we do have rock rotation with it, but there's nothing underneath at the moment. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Again, what you're seeing here, folks, and again, when you've ever been out around the Evant area, there's a lot of hills and the plateaus and stuff, so they're going to see kind of in between this and try to get set up. And from the shots we had of them earlier in this current one, you can kind of see that big, eventually when it gets to the better terrain, the big blocky kind of look. That's the big wall cloud that we're watching. Again, our Weather Authority chase team out near and around the Evant area. This is the tornadic storm that we're watching that has the tornado warning, so they switched over again. So you can kind of see, they'll adjust here. You can see this lowering right here. This is that big wall cloud. We're seeing a lot of kind of scraggly looking clouds. We watch these because these you'll see them kind of floating up and into. But right here, this is the wall cloud that they're watching right here. You can see this is where all the inflow is going in. This is where the strongest rotation is going on with this storm. But as they're looking at it, again, we're not seeing anything dropping from that wall cloud down to the south. Adam, I see you got to an area where you can stop and look at it. Anything else you can pick up from y'all's view right now?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
So we're currently looking right at the wall cloud. We're within about a mile or two. You can actually see on the left-hand side, if you watch the video, you can see it pulling back around. So we're watching that area very closely because that's where the tornado could form, is just off on the left-hand side of this wall cloud. So it should be on the left-hand side of y'all's screen.
Yeah, we've got to
sit there and watch. We definitely have upward motion and we have good broad rotation with it. So yeah, this would be the area. Right now, what's fortunate is we do not have a tornado on the ground. We're within a close visual, but at any moments of seconds to minute, this can tighten in right here where we're looking, just to the left side of this wall cloud is where we're watching real close. And so we're going to sit here for a little bit. Luckily, the storm right now is moving kind of slow, so we're just about 3 miles north of Evant.
Are you on Highway 281 right now, Adam?
We're going to stay on the line. Yes, we're right on 281. Let me give you an exact area. We're sitting at 281, and we have an intersection of County Road 417.
Okay, thank you, Adam.
So that is just, let me get a tracker here for myself. It's exactly 3.2 miles north of Evant.
Okay.
On 281.
All right, thank you, Adam. Yeah, we'll check back in with you. We've got your shot up, and we're watching again. Like Adam said, the wall cloud's right here, but sometimes on a setup like this, you'll have the wall cloud, but then the better rotation where it can come down. I mean, that's likely a funnel trying to form there. So you're getting this strong counterclockwise rotation here, and sometimes you can tell by kind of cloud lightening up here, and you kind of see that barrel look to it there. Again, that's where Adam and them are watching right now. Can we take the super off of that, guys? Or we're fine right there. But, well, yeah, if y'all can take that off so I can see down to the ground here. Yeah, so this looks to be a not real tightly rotating funnel, but this is likely the area where if a tornado is going to touch down. Again, they're sitting 3 miles north of Hamilton, within a mile or two of this tornado. And you watch these little clouds here. These are what we call scud clouds. So if you watch, well, you can watch these clouds are going to suck up into this, and then we can sometimes tell by the rotation around that of how quickly the rotation's pulling. But you see these clouds right here. They're pulling this way, and then clouds on that side are pulling the other way. So they're going to get repositioned, give us a good view of that. Let's jump back to radar real quick so we can show everybody what we're watching. But again, the radar view that we're seeing of that storm. So Adam's 3 miles north of Evant. So they're looking right into this storm. This storm is going to pass right across Highway 281 between Evant and Hamilton. So Hamilton's up here. We've got a potential tornado here. We're not seeing a tornado on the ground, but we've had significant rotation. Again, Adam's noticing, and we saw with his video, that this storm is likely producing some significant rotation inside of it. Give you another view of yes, this is completely agreeing with it. So here's the latest. You can see you get these bright greens right here, these bright reds here. This is showing that this is a very violently rotating storm. Now, where this storm's located, again, we're shooting from radars that are a little ways away from it, so we're hitting kind of the mid-levels of the clouds. So the radar is showing us what we would call, fancy term, mesocyclone, strong rotation in it. This is where having trained storm spotters like Adam and Melissa Suker out there is a great resource. And we've got, again, our Weather Edge and Explorer. We had them set back a little farther close to Waco and Temple and Killeen to let these storms move in, but they are quickly moving out that direction. But this got that tight rotation right here, and again, we're seeing on Adam's view nothing that's proving anything to the ground. So what the radar is telling us is that the entire thunderstorm is rotating significantly, but the eyeballs right now are showing us that nothing is coming to the ground. But as Adam said a while ago, that rotation's tight enough and all the ingredients are there that this storm could quickly spin up a tornado. And if it can get a tornado to the ground, it's going to have a lot of rotation to work with that could produce a pretty decent tornado with this storm. So let's give you again a quick look at the hail core of this storm. Still going to sit there, probably going to skirt just south of the Hamilton area. We've got another hail core down around the Goldthwaite area that's going to run along Highway 84. Give you a quick wide view of the radar so we can let everybody know kind of what we're watching and where. So again, we've got the tornado warning. That is in effect for Hamilton and Coryell counties. It runs until 2:45. We've got two warnings there that kind of overlap. Folks in Gatesville, you need to be paying attention to this storm. It could be working your way. Waco, Temple, Killeen, we're all quiet right now, but here's that complex of storms we're watching, and it is going to shift east and southeast, working its way towards the I-35 corridor here over the next couple of hours and shift quickly across parts of central Texas. So again, the storm we're worried about right now is in the process of getting ready to come across Highway 281. The view you see there in the corner of your screen from our Weather Authority Chase team, Adam and Melissa Suker, are sitting 3 miles north of Hamilton, watching this very intense rotation right here. The storm visually is showing clues of rotation, but it has not produced a tornado, at least what we're seeing from where we are. And there's not a better vantage point than what you're seeing there in the corner of your screen. Again, they're sitting right about here, looking right into this rotation that's going to work eventually right across Highway 281. So folks in Evant, you're right on the edge of this warning. It has been kind of moving it, Adam, down to the southeast. And Adam, what new info are you getting from that storm?
So Brady, we're still sitting in the exact same spot. If you can probably tell from the stream, we're starting to get much more faster broad rotation, but the broad rotation is starting to tighten in, probably within about a half a mile of us. We're obviously safe where we are. The storm's actually moving very slow, but it's getting very close to Highway 281. We're looking right now at the broad, what we call like a carousel. So you can see the circulation in the screen just rotating. It's starting to get much quicker now, and it's starting to try to tighten in. So we're watching for visual clues down at the base to see if we start seeing some rotation where you see little vortices spin up. But we haven't yet, but we're starting to see that this is starting to tighten in and it's getting stronger. So we could easily see a tornado within the next seconds to minutes. This is getting much tighter now. So we're going to watch very closely, and it's going to be on Highway 281 here, probably within the next just couple minutes. But yeah, if you look, you can see it tightening in right there on the left-hand side of your screen. See how it's starting to tighten in up there?
Yeah, folks, this is what we're seeing right here.
So we're getting close. I think we're gonna.
Yeah, Adam, I see your view here. Yeah,
yes, this is definitely tightening in very quickly now.
Spinning around. So, folks, this is why we have storm chasers out there. Adam and Melissa are a lot closer than we want anybody else to get to here. But again, this is the wall cloud right here. You can see it kind of stretches out right here. That's inflow feeding into this thunderstorm. And you see kind of this lighter color right here. The thunderstorms like this, the dry air will try to wrap around. But when you watch the backside of this, the clouds are moving this way. And then if you can kind of see, it's a little harder to see, but the clouds up in front are going to be moving this way. And that is that counterclockwise rotation with this storm. And what we're watching is right in here for anywhere of a lowering. So I would guess with the view Adam and them got, they're probably less than a half a mile, probably a quarter of a mile away from this rotation. It's going to cross right over Highway 281, right where they are. Again, this is the view sitting about 3 miles north of Evant on Highway 281. A very strong storm working their way. Let's go back to Adam. Adam, what are you seeing?
Can I back up here again?
Okay, Brady, we're still seeing the same thing, but the rotation's getting a little tighter. So it's taking its time, but the rotation's getting a little tighter. It's roughly about a 10th mile on the west side of 281. We're still sitting 3.2 miles north of Evant on 281. And we haven't confirmed anything on the ground yet, but we're about within a 10th of a mile of the circulation. We can see the rain bands wrapping around real rapidly, but if you can see on your screen here, I'm about to have to go fully wide angle. Nothing on the ground yet. We're still watching, but this is, the tightening is getting much tighter, so we could have a tornado here on 281 very, very quickly if this tightens in just a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, let's take Adam to the corner real quick. I want to show the radar and show Adam was mentioning that visually he's seeing signs that this storm is rotating stronger, and the visuals on radar are indicating that as well. So look at here. So this is where we're getting the bright reds right here. That's very strong winds pushing up to the north, running away from the radar down in Granger. When you see these bright greens the other way, and we'll get what I kind of call bleeding, where the colors bleed over to the other side. So you're getting these bright blues and these whites here. That's showing even stronger rotation here. Now, the good news is Adam's looking at that storm, has not seen anything that is confirmed down to the ground. Looks like they're repositioning just a little bit. So this storm's going to cross Highway 281, pretty much doing it right now. Good news is no confirmed tornado on the ground, but a very strong rotation. So where this is going to go now is pretty much work across Highway 281 in the southernmost portions of Hamilton County. So this warning does not include the city of Hamilton. This rotation is going to move just north of the city of Evant. Now, as we start moving east, here's Gatesville here. That's the next area that we're going to have to watch, of a populated area with this storm. So that's Highway 84 right there. There's Permila, if you kind of know some of these areas out here. That's FM 183 that crosses Highway 84 out there in western Coryell County. So, again, a significant rotation crossing Highway 281 right now, just north of Evant. The view in your corner of your screen there, that's from our Weather Authority chase team watching that. Again, we've got another storm chaser out there that's near where Adam is, and they completely confirmed. They're seeing that rear flank downdraft, that clear slot that was wrapping around the storm. That's another sometimes precursor of a storm producing a tornado. If nothing else, it is producing rapid rotation inside of it. So all we need is some of the ingredients to come together just right, and that storm could easily produce a tornado at any moment, but we're going to have eyeballs on it. Now, one thing, it's going to get a little messy with this storm because we've got other storms off towards the west. So, it's kind of right in this area here where Adam's trying to watch. And again, they're going to have to get repositioned because they're going to have other storms start to move in. So Evant, you're getting storm moving in on you, but it's not the tornadic concern. It's in this area right here that's crossing Highway 281. Folks that live in Gatesville, you're not under a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, but you're within probably the next 30 to 45 minutes of a significant storm working through central Coryell County. And Again, the wide view of this, we've got storms covering the vast majority of Hamilton County, Goldthwaite east and southeast, so between Goldthwaite and Lomita, another storm. These are not tornadic potential right now, but this is a large hail potential, and that hail and wind potential is going to be something that we're watching with these storms as we go over the next few hours with it. So again, the hail threat crossing Highway 284 or 281 right now, and it's again that golf ball size hail potential with that storm as it's working its way to the east and southeast. So you see the view from Adam there that's around the Evan area. This is the view just on the western side of Gatesville. This is from Sean Bellafury that's out in our weather edge. He's going to head just west of Gatesville, wait and see the storm move in, but he's giving us kind of the bigger view, and Adam's got a real close-up view. Guys, can we take Adam's full real quick and kind of see what he's got going on? So I think he's having to battle the rain, and I think this is going to be a concern here. You can see the wall cloud right here, and again, this is crossing 281 right now, but I was showing you those kind of getting messy. The bottom part of that storm is wrapping down below, so the visibilities are going away with this. But I use that term rear flank downdraft, that drier air. You can kind of see that clear slot there. So again, Adam's watching this storm pretty much crossing Highway 281 right now. So if there's a tornado on the ground, we cannot see it, but you can see the visibilities are going down. This is something typical with Central Texas. Adam, what are you seeing with this storm right now?
Brady, if you look in your screen, almost dead center, just to the right, we have a funnel cloud. We have strong RFD winds where we're currently at. It's moving away from us. I haven't been able to note anything on the ground, but we do have a funnel that you can barely kind of see on the right-hand side of your screen right now. Where we're getting battered right now with probably 60 to 80 mile an hour RFD winds wrapping around the storm. So even if you're not in the storm itself, you're just on the south side of the storm, it's extremely strong RFD winds. But we did have a funnel cloud just come over just on the east side of the 281 here, about 3 miles north. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit to it. It's kind of getting hard to see with the rain kind of wrapped around here.
Zoom out. Zoom out.
It's hard to see on the screen. It's starting to kind of look like it's moving back up. We're starting to get the RFD rain band, so it's kind of hard to see in there, but I do not see anything on the ground visually. We're having some trees like breaking off, blowing over due to the rear flank downdraft.
Okay. All right. So again,
back to you.
All right, Adam. So again, we were showing you that tight rotation. So when you can potentially produce a tornado, the entire storm's wrapping around a bunch. And think of the rear flank downdraft kind of like a front wrapping around, and you get blasted by 60 to 80 mile per hour winds. Sometimes that can do as much damage in and around a tornado as if it's a weaker tornado in the middle. And you see that 18-wheeler going there. That is not something that wants to be messing with that. You're talking about, again, strong rotation and just getting slapped with a big wall of rain and hail and strong winds coming upwards of 80 miles per hour at times. So we do have at least a funnel, and that was what Adam showed there. And again, we're getting some other video footage that the National Weather Service has seen of other chasers that are in that area. They're confirming the same thing. Adam and Melissa Suker are some of the best storm chasers in Central Texas, so they know what they're looking at, knowing where they need to be. And again, that's what they're seeing right inside of this storm right here. And again, that where Adam was where this part wrapped in right in here, where that moisture came into it. Again, in Central Texas, this is the setup we see a lot, where there's just a ton of moisture, where it sometimes can rain wrap a tornado, so it decreases that potential of seeing a tornado. But again, this is what we're talking here, violent rotation inside this storm. So what Adam dealt with there, where he was this bright greens right here. That was the rear flank downdraft slamming into Adam. And I'm going to use a different tool here that shows the exact wind. So the radar was showing, let's see if I can get the velocity on this where it'll give me a good idea of what we're seeing here. So I know it's just showing the warning. So we're talking, again, 60 to 80 mile per hour winds wrapping around in this thunderstorm right now. And again, that's the view Adam has of that storm there in the corner of your screen. Sean Bellafury's out in our weather edge. He's just west of town. And guys, if y'all can pass along to him, probably doesn't need to go much farther west with that storm. And have we heard from the Weather Explorer yet on their, if they're online yet? Okay, so again, this is the view. So this is looking down Highway 84. Sean, if you're there, what are you seeing right now? I know you're a few miles away. What are you seeing with the overall setup with the storm?
Hey, Brady. Yeah, we're about 3 miles to the west of Gatesville. We're driving towards that storm. The clouds have certainly gotten a whole lot darker, but we are not close enough to really see anything of the structure just yet. But I can tell you that the weather edge, we have 77-degree temperature outside with the dew point around 69 degrees. So we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Kind of hard to get a wind reading on this, but it doesn't look to be too bad right now. We're going to be approaching the small community of Arnett in just about 3 or 4 minutes, and we're going to sit there, and pretty much the storm's going to come directly towards us. So you're hopefully getting a good view of some really dark clouds in front of us right now.
Yeah, then that's a good spot to be. I wouldn't go any farther west of there, Sean. So yeah, that's the view from our weather edge that's getting close. Meteorologist Sean Bellafiore is there. We'll have our weather explorer that's waiting for these storms to get closer to I-35. And again, we'll check in with the Weather Authority chase team. So again, Adam told us, and he just reported it to the National Weather Service as well. Funnel cloud he saw about 5 minutes ago crossing Highway 281, 1.25 miles just north of Evan. So that's just skirting north of the Evan area. Again, Sean is heading towards Arnett, so that is right here on Highway 84. So he's looking up into this storm. The video you see there, again, that's Adam. We're flipping back and forth between Adam and Melissa's shot and Sean's shot from our different chase vehicles to see the better view that we can get. So Sean's got the far away. It's going to come on to him, and then Adam's right there in the middle, driving kind of right in the middle of that storm right now. So again, strong rotation, violent rotation inside this storm. When you start seeing these whites and these really, really bright greens, that's when we're starting to talk radar indicating the potential of 100-mile-per-hour or stronger winds violently rotating inside of this storm. So if there's not a tornado on the ground, it is very, very close to potentially producing one. And again, we've got several sets of eyeballs on this storm. No one has in the last half hour been able to confirm a tornado on the ground. So that's good news. But again, as you can see with the view from our Weather Authority chase team, it's getting very messy. It's very rainy. You can see in his view that lowering there. The problem is it gets so hard to see all the way down. If we can take their shot full real quick, I want to kind of point out a few things with that, what we're watching there. And guys, if y'all hear anything from them, again, all right, so look right in here. The problem is that a funnel or is that a tornado on the ground? You can't see. And guys, if y'all hear anything from Adam, my guess is they're not seeing anything down below here, but see how hard it is to see anything there? Adam, I'm guessing y'all can't see anything touching the ground, but it definitely looks like some significant rotation where you are.
Hi, Brady. Yes, we're sitting 2 miles east of Evan on 84, looking due north, and it's hard to tell. There could be something wrapped in this rain. We're sitting on the south side of the circulation here, so just give us a few minutes. Keep that view up. We're starting to get a little bit better of a visual. Point the car back that way, back up in here.
Don't have that much wood. Adam, you've got to fix it.
Trying to get the real RFP where we're at. Let's see. I don't, unless it's inside the rain, I cannot visually see. I see a lot of good, fast broad circulation within the storm, and it's sitting just north of 84, a mile and a half. We're going to reposition. We're trying to get 80 mile an hour RFD. That's coming directly down 84.
Yeah, Adam, y'all.
RFD right now. We're going to reposition.
I can't see.
Yeah, y'all reposition. We've got Sean sitting a little west, so we'll see his view. Y'all get somewhere that's a little bit safer. That's what we'd like for y'all to do. So, again, they're in the getting just slammed by this storm. So let's go back to radar real quick, and I'll kind of give you an explanation of where they are and what they're dealing with. So, again, this is the storm, right? This is the area of rotation just north of Evan. Adam, Melissa, right in this area here. So the way these storms, we always focus on the tornado, but again, this is a violently rotating storm. So you'll get, again, they use the term rear flank downdraft. That's the area wrapping kind of the backside of this thunderstorm and slamming down. That's part of that intense rotation because it's bringing winds from up higher in the thunderstorm and slamming them down. So he's confirming 80-mile-per-hour winds where they were sitting, and you couldn't see anything that they were looking at. So a violently dangerous storm there. So we do not want people out doing that. Again, Adam and Melissa have been doing this for about as long as I've been on TV, so I trust their view, and they're knowing the safe places to be. This is a view from our weather edge. Sean just had a shot looking off west. He's going to get positioned just north of Highway 84, so the storm will be off to the left. We'll come back to him once he gets his shot repositioned. So, again, we are seeing a very, very strong storm that could be producing some very significant rotation on this. Now, this is moving through a pretty rural area right now, so that's good. But I do want to say for the folks in Gatesville, so you've got a major storm that is approaching your area. It's not moving real fast, but it is right now crossing the county line between Hamilton and Coryell County. So to give you some of the roadways here, this is FM 932. So here's Permila. There's the little blinking red light there on Highway 84 that crosses right around the Permila area there. So that kind of give you a kind of between Evant and Gatesville. But it's up north of there. It's crossing right across the county line right now. That's the view from radar, from the reflectivity view. This is a look at the rotation. That rotation is a little more, I mean, it is sitting, right here's Highway 84. It is sitting right along or just north of Highway 84. So it's going to continue to move east, southeast, and it's going to work along, if not for a while, right along Highway 84, very close to it. So let's give you the view that Sean has real quick. Again, you can see the view there in the corner of the screen. That's Adam and Melissa's view. This is the view from the weather edge. This is Highway 84 here. So this is kind of on the southern side of where that rotation is. So you can kind of see, you see this lighter color here. That's the signs of that storm, again, wrapping in violently, pulling in some of that drier air into it that's producing some of that significant rotation. So we've got eyeballs in multiple locations watching this storm. Let's go back out wide real quick for folks that are tuning in. I know we're interrupting your programming here, but we've got a tornado watch in effect area-wide across Central Texas. Waco, Temple, clean, everything's quiet. These are the complex of storms that we're watching that are shifting pretty much due east. They're firing up and then sliding east quickly. Good news, folks, in Hamilton, Goldthwaite, that severe threat's already out of your area, and we're done with the severe weather threat there. But a large portion of Central Texas still going to have a while that we're dealing with these very strong and potentially really dangerous storms. Take a quick look at the hail threat in this. It's still sitting just on the north side of that rotation. So it's across Highway 281. It's going to be working into the northern parts of northern half of Coryell County. So again, Coryell County is really the area that we're the most concerned with this very, very violent rotation. Again, Adam and them are in a great spot. Sean's in a great spot as well. We've got our Weather Authority Chase team and Weather Edge there. When you see this kind of nearly comma look here, this is strong winds that are pushing up. So right in here, I mean, this is, again, County Road 160. Again, here's Permila right here. If you live anywhere in Permila, Pearl, anywhere west of the city of Gatesville, anywhere in around Highway 84, you have to be in your tornado safe place now. So we're talking an inner room of your house, away from windows and doors. You need to find a bathroom, hallway, closet, somewhere interior. As you can see from Adam's shot there, this storm is getting wrapped up in rain. So if our highly trained storm chasers can't see it, you're not going to be able to see it. And it's just getting, we're even losing some of that kind of hook look to it. But it'd be right in here. This is where that rotation is, but it is getting completely covered in rain. We don't want you outside trying to look at this storm. We've got chasers set up in different vantage points to attempt to see this storm. And again, Adam is right in just the major hail or the rain area there. And you can see Sean's view. This is looking right down Highway 84. So again, this is that rotation would be kind of right on this side of the screen, but you can see that just rain all on this side. Typically, this would be kind of what we call the rain-free base. You can see it there, but you can see the rain and the hail back behind it. So unfortunately, that's wrapping into this storm, and that's cutting down on any potential of visibility. So again, we've got eyeballs in two separate areas, one closer to the storm, another a little bit further away to give us different views of what the setup is with this storm, what they're seeing with this storm. But we've got a very, very strong thunderstorm right now that is working out of Hamilton County into Coryell County, likely producing hail upwards of $50 to golf ball size, producing very significant rotation. We have not seen a confirmed tornado, but we've had what we call rear flank downdraft winds upwards of 80 miles per hour. Now, the National Weather Service has decided to extend this to as just a severe thunderstorm warning after this tornado warning. So since we haven't confirmed anything with this, and again, it may be losing a little bit of that hook look to it there as of right now, at least for the long term, they're going to put out the tornado or severe thunderstorm warning. We'll continue to watch this. Folks in Gatesville up towards Jonesboro, Coryell City, now all the way to Crawford and McGregor. You have a storm that has the potential of producing $50 or larger size hail heading your way. That severe thunderstorm warning runs until 3:30, so that's over the next hour. Now, this does not mean you need to let your guard down on the tornado threat. This just means that we know there's a storm that's going to produce damaging winds and hail your way. Typically, the National Weather Service doesn't put tornado warnings that far out in advance because people sometimes don't react well to that. They get prepared and then they relax. So these warnings are a lot smaller when it comes to tornado warnings. Sean, what are you seeing here? Again, near the Arnett area, looking out west, what are you seeing with the structure of the storm?
Yeah, Brady, the one thing that you mentioned was that rain-free base where we would normally expect to see a tornado, and it's completely shrouded in rain. We're in a pretty good spot to get past a lot of the hills and the hilly terrain, and looking off towards the west, it's just straight up cloud coverage and rain. If there was a tornado, it would be certainly rain-wrapped. We have about 25-mile-per-hour winds going into the storm right now. We are still, I would say, about 10 miles to the east of where the highest circulation is. So we're going to sit here for a couple more moments and see if we can see anything, but I doubt it at this point with how much rain has fallen. I do want to point out that, we were going through Gatesville a couple of moments ago, and there was a lot of cars on the road in Gatesville. I'm assuming, either trying to get ready for the kids to come home from work or from school or whatnot. It's very dangerous to be outside, especially around Highway 84 in Coryell County as the storm runs its way in. But yeah, we're just sitting and waiting. We are in a good spot to just see a lot of clouds right now.
All right, thank you, Sean. And again, just kind of point out to what we're seeing with Sean's shot. Again, he's looking right off, so the rotation would probably be right in this area here, but you see that moisture wrapping around. One thing that as meteorologists we watch, you see how the weeds and wildflowers there are leaning away from Sean's shot. That means the winds are pulling into this thunderstorm. That's a visual clue that our chasers and meteorologists use, because this means that the winds are still feeding into the thunderstorm. As long as that's happening, it's getting that moisture and that fuel that could produce a tornado. Anytime you're watching a storm and you feel a cool breeze blowing to you, that cuts off that tornado threat. But if that warm, humid air is still feeding to that storm, as Sean is showing you there, that's where we have that threat of a tornado. And I do want to point out the hook is starting to re-intensify there. And again, the National Weather Service has upgraded this now to up to baseball size hail inside of this storm. And again, as they're showing you, and you can see the shot there, that's our Weather Authority chase team. They're closer too. And again, this is likely wrapped up in rain, but you can see some of that clearing there, or that lighter color. I'm guessing the rear flank downdraft is still very strong. Adam, what are you seeing where you're at right now?
Ready, we're currently looking due north from USD. We're straight into this, basically the rear flank downdraft. We actually we have a visual now. I'm hoping it's showing up on the screen. We don't see anything on the ground, but there is very strong still rotation. We're right in what we call the Bears Gate, which is basically where the RFP is rapidly circling back into the storm. So we would have to just get there's really strong rotation. All clouds still on the right hand side, just to the left of that is where we're paying attention to, and we can see it. We're having to sit just inside that rain curtain to look inside. But right now, as you can see, there's nothing currently on the ground, but still, we're talking very close to something could spin up very quick at this point, as this is multiple different interactions happening right now.
Thank you, Adam. And again,
still very strong RFB circulation. So even though if there's not a terrain on the ground, there's very strong.
All right, so again, that's Adam's view, and again, you can kind of still see where that wall cloud right is in here, and it was talking. He actually had to get closer to the storm because there's a big curtain of rain, pretty much putting a wall around where the strongest rotation is. And again, even if our chasers don't confirm a tornado on the ground, we've already had visual proof, and you can just hear when he was talking that rain pounding. This is a storm that's going to produce upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds, because that rear flank downdraft, again, wraps around that storm and is pretty much causes a wall of rain to move in. And you can see his shot right here. So we've got a little lowering there. This is going to be as good of a view as we can get. Again, this is looking just north from Highway 84. We're having to use windshield wipers as fast as they go to get a view. But again, so here's kind of where the wall cloud is. Earlier, if you were watching when they were out closer to Evant, they were watching that area just to the left of the wall cloud. And you can see that's some pretty significant lowering there. And this is what this storm's showing. Again, here in the last scan, the radar's showing a little better rotation inside of it. And we've definitely got a lowering right there with that storm. So it's trying its best. This is a very, very strong storm. Baseball-sized hail, straight line wind threat of upwards of 80 miles per hour, and it is trying its best to produce a tornado right now. And there's the chance, I mean, this has been dipping down a little lower, that there could be a tornado on the ground. A lot of times when these, okay, so Adam's got to move. Okay, Adam's moving. Let's go back to radar and let's put Sean's view in the corner. You can see the wide view of that and kind of view of the, so he's got a little bit wider view. You can kind of see that barrel shape. That's showing that big rotation. And again, we'll check back in with Adam. He is right in an area that this storm is moving pretty much right on top of. So Adam was sitting right in here, but you can see there's rain here. There could be rain falling all around this rotation, but you've got to get so close to see it. We don't want anyone except for trained storm spotters to even be that close. Oh, man. All right, so kind of put this in perspective here. This is the style of rotation we were seeing last year with the Salado storm, where it was screaming at us. I was talking earlier about, oh, that's good. So it came back down just a little bit. When you start to see the bleed over of green showing up on this side, red showing up on that side, that's where it's very, very violent rotation coming across there. But right on Highway 84 right now, just west of Gatesville. Let's talk about how far this is west of Gatesville. I want to put a measurement on this real quick. So from the city of Gatesville to the center of this rotation, we're talking 15, 16 miles. So Arnett, Permila, areas like that, you've got a very violent rotation that could be producing a tornado. We've got the tornado warning in effect for that area right now. Gatesville, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but that is more kind of the precursor that they know this storm is producing destructive hail. We're talking probably up to tennis ball size hail inside of this line, particularly in this area here. But what we're very worried about is this big hook right here. And again, we've got multiple eyeballs watching this storm from very different vantage points. What you're seeing there is our Weather Authority Chase team. We've talked with Adam and Melissa Suker several times, and they are repositioning to get the best view of that storm. But again, a storm that could be producing a tornado. We're getting to the part now where, unfortunately, our chasers have to get so close to it. They're getting pounded by 70, 80 mile per hour winds just to get partial and somewhat obstructed vantage points of this storm. So we don't want you going outside looking at this storm. Let us show you where it is. Again, we're on TV. Jillian, we're streaming on the app, right? Yeah, we went on the app. Go to your app store, Google or Apple Store, search KWTX Weather. You will see on the top of it there's a link. There's also a link farther down where you can watch our coverage live. So if you lose TV signal, you lose electricity, we've got you covered. But we're going to be here as long as this significant threat is going on. 2:30 right now. That threat's going to continue to increase across I-35 here over the next hour to hour and a half. You can see that view there, that Adam just moving a little bit. You see that just green hue to the sky. That's that hail threat that's inside of this storm. So he got moved a little bit better to where there is not as much rain, and he can get a little better view of the core. But this rotation is significantly working its way right across the Highway 84 area. So this is going to, let's put this, I want to put this in motion here so I can get a better view of it. So it's working right across Highway 84. So it is right now, if it continues on this track, again, it's right across. So if you live in the Gatesville area, if you ever drove out west, so South Permila is right there on the intersection of Highway 84. There's the post office there, and again, a blinking kind of yellow light where you have to slow down there. That's where that is. So this is about 10 to 15 miles west of Gatesville. The rotation is moving now right along and just south of Highway 84. So it's going to move near or just south of Arnett. If it keeps on its current track, it may move south of Gatesville. But if you live anywhere near Gatesville, you need to be weather aware and be ready to take correct precautions very quickly, as a very, very violent thunderstorm that has the potential to produce a tornado has had a track record of producing large hail and very strong winds. I want to show you real quickly. We've got the close-up view there from Adam and Melissa Sucre. This is the wider view from Sean. So this is what we call a beaver's tail. So what this is showing is very intense inflow feeding up and into this thunderstorm. So Adam is showing you the wall cloud, which is the closer representation, more in the core of this storm. Sean showing you kind of the wider, that this is a massive thunderstorm that's feeding into it. So they're repositioning and getting ready for that. And just to show you, we've got multiple eyeballs out there. Camille Hawksworth and our Weather Explorer farther away. This kind of shows the soupy view that most of us are seeing along I-35. But right now, we're continuing to watch the storm. Again, the National Weather Service continuing to say they're worried about the storm. It continues showing signs like we're seeing that it's trying its best to touch down, but it just has not. You can tell all the lightning inside this storm. It is a very significant thunderstorm right now that is right on top of Highway 84. So Gatesville, you're not under a warning, but my guess is that we're going to have a new warning come out for areas near and south of Gatesville. We're going to get to it eventually where this is going to start moving across possibly parts of North Fort Hood. So Highway 36 is right here. Again, Pitcoke down there to the south. So we'll be watching areas from Arnett to Gatesville to Pitcoke to Flat as this potentially very dangerous storm. Again, right now sitting right on top of the Permila areas where this is. So this is FM 183 right here. We've got FM 932 right up here. And then again, this is Highway 84. And the view you're seeing from our Weather Authority chase team is right underneath this thunderstorm, trying to get a view. Again, the big issue we're having right now is that you see all this rain here, and you got this little hole. Well, this is rain falling, pretty much a full curtain of rain around the rotation. But the radar is showing us, by looking at the velocity inside of this, that very significant rotation is ongoing. And guys, if we can get a chance to talk with Adam, I'd like to see which direction from Highway 84 he's looking, because right now it looks like we're down between Pearl and Arnett where that strongest rotation is. And there comes the new tornado warning that just got issued. So, okay, Adam, does it look like this rotation's now all south of Highway 84?
Correct, Brady. This rotation is now south of Highway 84. We have very strong winds going into that circulation area. So this storm is very strong. This is a classic supercell thunderstorm. We're trying to get a visual. We have a lot of rain in the area that we need to be seeing in, but we have very strong northerlies come racing into the storm right now up on the right-hand side of your screen. But we're looking, if there is any rotation or tornado even possibly on the ground, it's going to be just south of 84 right now. And we are currently just past the intersection of Farm to Market 183. We're just setting east of 183. We're going to have to reposition because we have very strong RFD winds coming back into the storm, screaming into it. Now we're about to blast it. So I'm estimating winds. We got tree limbs breaking over behind us right now. So I'm estimating winds now 80 miles an hour.
Can't get out of here.
There, guys. So again, you can see that strong, what they call rear flank downdraft winds. You can see the trees they're already talking about. And that's where these get dangerous, is because, again, this whole thunderstorm is just spinning like a top. And you can see how much it changed they were clear, everything's fine. And look how fast the clouds are rushing above them. So upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds. You can see the trees just dancing there, and it's a solid wall of that strong winds. And that strong rear flank downdraft intensifies the winds inside that tornado. So, again, it's been very hard to see a tornado, but if anybody's going to see it, it's going to be that view that we've got there. So, again, what they pass along to us, we'll go back to the radar real quick and we'll show you. And we're going to dance around between. We've got 3 different Storm Chaser vehicles out, our Weather Edge and Explorer, our Weather Authority chase team as well, giving us different vantage points. The rotation is now passed south of Highway 84. So they were watching from near Permila looking down, and you could tell when they started to get where they had to bail on this, it's because of all these bright greens here. This is the strong rotation of this storm pushing down into this rotation that's moving through and just south of Arnett. So some of the communities that we see here, and here's the triple box. So this is a view we've got. So on the left side, that's our Weather Edge. That's in Coryell County. Camille Hawksworth is sitting just west of the Waco area, getting the wider view. And then again, Adam and Melissa Suker and our Weather Authority chase vehicle there, they are right underneath this storm. So we're going to try to have multiple vantage points. We spread our chasers out because we've got to watch the potential of multiple storms. So, and it helps us here in the Forecast Center to see the different structure in different ways so that we can tell what's going on. So let's go back real quick to the wide view. I want to give everyone a quick update on what we're seeing right now. We're not forgetting about everybody else. Yes, it is one storm that we're highly worried about, and that is the storm that now has a tornado warning running till 3:15. Gatesville, you're under this warning, so we need you to at least be ready to go into a safe area. I do expect right now that the rotation of the storm is going to slide just south of Gatesville, but from the North Fort Hood area, and you're going to start talking about areas along Highway 36, and then we're going to have to eventually start talking about Highway 317 and parts of areas around Lake Belton and areas like this. This is a strong storm that could produce a tornado later farther down to the southeast. But right now it's sitting west of the city of Gatesville, has crossed south of Highway 84, and again is moving to the southeast at about 25, 30 miles per hour. So this storm is going to cross FM 116. So that's the road that goes from the Gatesville Airport south, kind of on the western side of the Fort Hood area. So this is where all the test area, training ranges and all that on North Fort Hood. So again, this area of rotation, which it is, when it gets like this, where it's not just that real picture perfect hook like that, yes, there's rotation, but when we start getting kind of this big area down here, that's an indication that more rain is wrapping into it. And that's what Adam and Melissa were seeing there. They're having to kind of gradually step and looking down from the north, down from Highway 84, down into this rotation, but it's getting very hard to see what would potentially be going on with that. We can see from looking at their stuff that, I mean, it is violently rotating. Winds are just howling where they are. And again, they are very, very close to that rotation there. And they've already reported winds of upwards of 80 miles per hour. So, all right, so we're going to take Adam's shot here. Again, this is our Weather Authority chase team there, right looking south, I believe, from the Highway 84 area. And again, you can see in here, one, you just see the kind of the greenish, bluish hue. That's likely some hail. That also kind of shows us when more light can get in. There's what we call a clear slot, or kind of that drier air trying to wrap into that storm. So we've seen all of the kind of building blocks that we expect to see with a tornado. But one bad thing we deal with here in Central Texas, a lot of time you see chaser video, that big tornado off in the distance that you can watch for a while. Typically, this is the view we get with tornadoes here in Central Texas. When you have this much muggy air surging into our area, it produces more rain, kind of puts a curtain around that potential tornado and makes it very difficult, even for trained storm spotters and storm chasers, to get anywhere to see it, because you have to get so close that threat really starts to intensify as you're that close to that storm. So we'll be watching their view closely. Again, that rotation right now is just south. It's still a violent area of rotation with this storm. It's just south of the community of Arnett. So you're talking around just near the King area. And again, it's going to skirt likely near or just south of the Gatesville Airport is the way this motion is going. And I'm going to put back to the radar, and this is going to show the latest. This is a 2-hour loop and kind of give us a view. And yeah, you can nearly see it just kind of barrel down when that rotation got really strong. It was this was right about the time Adam was showing us that significant increase in the rotation. So that rotation's diving southeast. So it's going to move right near flat. It's going to go likely just south of the city of Gatesville. I know there's a lot of folks that got country land all around the Gatesville area. So if you live anywhere near and south of Highway 84, you've got very strong rotation that's moving your area. But even if you live north of Highway 84 in Coryell, what was that, guys? Sorry. Okay. If you live anywhere in Coryell County, you got the threat of major hail. So let's check back in with Adam Suker, who is repositioned. And Adam, anything changed in that view you have there?
We're finally getting a view. So if you look on the right-hand side of your screen, that is the rotating wall cloud that we're looking due south from Highway 84. We're in Arnett right now. It's not tightening in, but there's a lot of rotation with this wall cloud as we're watching it. You can probably see it on your screen moving pretty quickly from the right to left. We're looking due south at this, so it's just south of 84. I would approximate it probably half to no more than 3/4 of a mile south of US 84. And we're right here just in Arnett But you can actually see under the base right now. So currently we can say that we do not see a tornado, but that doesn't mean anything. This can easily drop one within a matter of seconds. We could even have little vortices that are spinning and dancing underneath it. It's just hard to see right now. So I would still treat this as a tornado should drop at any moment. But even though we're not clearly seeing one visually right now, we at least have a view to know it is one on the ground. We're just currently watching the northerlies blow against this one, the position we're at. So here in a minute, obviously we're going to have to move again. We're going to start getting that straight line wind. So if you've been driving down 84 or anywhere in the 84 area, very strong RFQ wind. Probably causing some minor damage probably. Back to you, Brady.
All right, thank you, Adam. And again, as you can just see, I mean, it's a dynamic view there. You can see on the top of the screen here how clouds were just streaming back into this really quickly. And you can see how the visibility's dropped here just in the last 20 to 30 seconds. They have to go and reposition in this storm. As it kind of pulses, it'll kind of get where you can get a peek of it. But again, that wall cloud is spinning rapidly. And as Adam's told you, you've got to take a violently rotating wall cloud as a precursor that at any moment a tornado could touch down. Just because it hasn't so far doesn't mean that it couldn't. And the problem is once it gets down the ground, it could stay there for a while. So again, we're about to lose close contact with this storm. So Adam was sitting in Arnett looking just south of there. So Adam was sitting here looking down here. And again, anytime you get these bright, the reds and greens, that's the very strong. And then we're getting that rear flank downdraft that's wrapping around and coming towards Adam and them. So a storm that could produce baseball-sized hail has shown a history of producing very significant rotation, has a rapidly rotating wall cloud, and on radar is just screaming at us that this has very significant rotation with it. So again, the good news is this is going to slide south of the Gatesville area. So Gatesville, you're under the tornado warning. I think you need to be more prepared for very strong straight line winds and the potential of maybe, again, I'd say anywhere from $50 to tennis ball size hail is kind of the worry we have with this right now. If you live south of Gatesville, military folks on the North Fort Hood part of the Fort Hood base, that's going to be an area we'll watch. And then we're going to shift our attention to Highway 36. So here's flat. That's an area. And then once it exits out of parts of Fort Hood, gets across Highway 36, we start getting into more metropolitan areas a little closer to areas around Highway 36 to Highway 317. So very significant rotation. Again, this is where it really helps us having the multiple sets of eyeballs out there. Again, what you're seeing in the corner of the screen is our Weather Authority chase team. We've got Sean Bellafury on our Weather Edge. We have Camille Hawksworth that is out in the Weather Explorer. So both the Weather Edge and Explorer are watching the storm and repositioning on the eastern side of Fort Hood. Again, when you're chasing storms and it crosses military posts where we can't drive, it gets very dangerous for storm chasers to decide where they need to be because we can't escape to other different areas. You've heard Adam talk about having to reposition, having to move somewhere because, again, this storm not only has the strong rotation that could produce a tornado, it's having 70 to 80 mile per hour straight line winds and, again, very significant hail. So they're trying to move around to get as safe as they can, and we'll see the shot get closer to our Edge and Explorer as the storm continues to shift more towards the east. Again, the hail threat is still there. We're still seeing anywhere from about $50 to maybe golf ball size hail right along near Highway 84. So that threat's going to work its way towards the Gatesville area. Straight line wind threat is going to work its way towards the Gatesville area, but the tornadic threat with this storm is likely to cross right across FM 216. So for those folks that know this area, that is on the western side of Post. So that's going to run from the Gatesville Airport down to Pitcoke. That's the road that you take down towards the Topsy area and eventually get you down towards Coppers Cove if you're taking that shot there, because you take FM 116 and then you got the split off right here, and 116 takes you down to Coppers Cove. So a lot of folks that live in Coryell County may work in the Coppers Cove area, may work up in Gatesville or vice versa. Very busy farm to market road traffic wise. So if you live or have to be commuting on this area, you need to be paying close attention, because particularly between Pitcoke and Arnett, and between Pitcoke and the Gatesville Airport, in this stretch right here, a very just nasty thunderstorm that's, if there's a tornado, it is wrapped up in rain and not visible to see right now. And again, Adam just passed along. They got golf ball size hail where they were, and they weren't even in the full core of the hail of this system. They were sitting more on the edge there near the rotation. So golf ball or larger size hail. Let's take a real quick view out. I want to give you a quick update. our Waco Temple Killeen area not seeing anything right now. We were expecting this to be a pretty big and significant severe weather event once that activity got going, and this was as fast as I've ever seen a thunderstorm, just going from a cloud that we had no radar reflectivity to a severe thunderstorm to a tornado warning in our area. And a tornado watch stretches all across central Texas. To our north and south, it's severe thunderstorm watches, meaning the tornadic potential is higher in central Texas than it is to our north and to our south. That runs until 8 o'clock this evening. So the threat is going to be increasing over the next hour or so along much of the I-35 corridor as this line of storms continues to strengthen. It's stretching from right on the Bosque-Coryell County line all the way across western Coryell County, Lampasas County, down to San Saba County, between San Saba and Cherokee and down towards the Bend area. Fortunately, the storm activity in Lampasas and San Saba County hasn't shown any major signs of strengthening, so that's good news. It's really one part of this thunderstorm that we're watching closely. So that's where this storm's moving in right here. And if we can check in with Adam, I think they're getting some pretty significant hail where they're at. And again, this is because the storm's moving over Post and Pass south of them. Adam, how bad's the hail there on the north side of this rotation where you are on Highway 84?
So a few miles back on 84, we were getting up to golf ball size. First, we were getting 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inch just on the west side of Gatesville. We're about just 2 miles west of Gatesville on 84. So the hailstones this way towards Gatesville, to get ready, are going to start getting large hailstones. We were getting up to golf ball size back there. I have the view of the camera right now pointed due south at the area that we're concerned with the circulation. As you can see, a lot of rain is wrapped around that area that we need to look, so it's hard to see what's actually going on inside of the rain-wrapped area. So this storm's now becoming more of what we call HP and high precipitation, and we're getting large hailstones, strong winds, and possibly circulation just on the south side of 84. So folks in Gatesville, get ready. You're about to get strong winds and large hail coming straight at you. We're literally now about a mile outside of Gatesville. We're still getting nickel to quarter-size hail. Back to you, Grady.
Thank you, Adam. And again, where they're sitting, they're just on the edge of that hail core. So as Adam told you, a high precipitation supercell. That just means that the rotation is getting shrouded by a curtain of rain. So it's going to be really impossible to see. They're getting repositioned, likely heading to Highway 36 to get a better view. But again, the hail core is working. They're on 84, just about to get into the Gatesville area. And look at this track. This is the last hour of hail with this storm. And again, that hail track, you're going to see these colors start to increase closer to Gatesville. So again, they were out in this area already picking up golf ball size hail, and they got out of Arnett before the big hail core even got there. So we have a major thunderstorm. It's going to bring at least quarter size or larger hail for Gatesville. If you live on the southern side of Highway 84, that's probably where the biggest hail is. So we're going to get the rotation with this storm, and we're going to get the hail core moving in. Let's check in with Sean Bellafrieri. So Sean, you're on the western side of Post. You're in the Pidcoke area, right?
Yes, Brady, we were just coming down Highway 1, or FM 117, I believe it is, and or 116 rather, and we got hit with the rear flank downdraft winds as we were coming down, and we're kind of getting hit with some winds now. It's kind of hard to tell because we were driving and how strong the winds were, but we could see dust blowing. It was a crosswind right across the highway, estimated at least 40 miles per hour. Yeah, we had to bug out a little bit because we were sitting in right about where the strongest rotation was. So we're in Pidcoke right now. The winds are picking up a little bit. We're getting about 15-ish mile per hour winds here in the Weather Explorer. 69-degree dew point, so still very, very soupy air, but it was very, very dangerous driving down this FM road. The crosswind was just absolutely insane, and we weren't even technically in the storm, at least according to radar. So we're probably going to keep going south here. Since the storm is moving a little bit more towards eastern Coryell County, we're going to try to see if we can maybe sneak at it from Bell County. So that's our next go.
Okay, thank you, Sean. So again, you've been seeing the vantage point. Oh man, the radar getting really mad here. So you saw the vantage point that Adam had. They were sitting up here in the Gatesville area looking down. Sean's showing you the view looking up, and again, both ways, this storm is wrapped in rain. There's no way to see the rotation on this storm. It is right now crossing FM 116. So it's going to move across parts of Fort Hood. So here's North Fort Hood right here. So that's where the gate is at North Fort Hood. So this is where Highway 36 kind of clips across parts of northeastern parts of Fort Hood. That rotation is between the Gatesville Airport and Pitcoke, rolling now into parts of Fort Hood. Very dangerous winds. Even if a tornado is on the ground, we likely will not be able to see a tornado if it is occurring. The reflectivity is showing this is just a big, nasty mess of a storm. The velocities that we're seeing inside of this are even getting to the point where it's starting to confuse the radar a little bit. I'm going to switch products here. Yeah, you don't see in central Texas storms where you're getting this kind of blue showing up here. So this is showing extreme winds pulling into this thunderstorm. So if you live along Highway 36 on the, say, flat to Morgan's Point, areas like that, you are likely feeling winds out of the south and southeast that are probably picking upwards of 40 miles per hour. That is the fuel feeding up into this thunderstorm. So we have just dangerous rotation inside the storm. And again, we've got Sean there on FM 116, so he's looking this way up to the storm. We've got our Weather Authority chase team up in the Gatesville area. They're likely to be going down Highway 36. And then our Weather Explorer, I believe they just went south of McGregor. I saw their feed, and I think I saw some of the, they're in the Moody area. So yeah, so they're on 317. So we've got multiple views of this storm from multiple angles, and we've got highly trained storm chasers and meteorologists out there keeping an eye on that. So that is what we're seeing. And again, the rotation from this storm is extremely violent right now. And it's now going to move over an area where our storm chasers can't get close to it. There's nobody that can get close to it. This is moving out over all the training area, range area there on northern parts of base there at Fort Hood. So it's going to slide east. And again, eventually going to cross Highway 36. If you live in Flat, you live anywhere in and around Flat, you need to be in your tornado safe area now. You've got a few minutes before this storm makes it there. It's moving east-southeast at about 25 miles per hour. Let me get a double check on the speed of this storm. Again, upwards of baseball-sized hail, a possible tornado, again, moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. So let me I'm going to zoom this out a little bit and put a track on where this rotation is moving to kind of give you a better idea of where we're going with this. So again, over the next hour, if it moves at this 30 mile per hour pace, it's roughly maybe at this speed or probably a little earlier. I ran out of room to stretch this out. So I would say you're looking at Lake Belton High School. Probably you need to prepare for this, possibly be there by around 3:45. Morgan's Point, anywhere right around about the same time as well. And then as we get closer to 4 o'clock, we're getting to the Drawn Miller Temple Airport. So Belton, Lake Belton, Temple, y'all are going to be the next major areas. This will be the first time this rotation moves into a major metropolitan area. So be prepared that we've got a storm that has shown a history of very strong rotation, a history of producing at least golf ball size hail, and radar indications of a likely tornado on the ground. If this storm's not producing a tornado on the ground, it has got as violent of rotation that I've seen on a storm not producing a tornado. But again, it is moving over parts of Fort Hood right now, so we are not able to get spotters or chasers anywhere close to this storm, and it's going to take this storm for the next 15, 20 minutes at least before it starts getting closer to Highway 36 that we're able to get a good close vantage point to it. But again, the other thing to point into that is this storm's likely wrapped in rain and going to be very hard to see anything. And the way we can see that with radar, again, you kind of see this little hole right here. That's where the updraft is strong enough to keep rain from falling, but you see this big area of wrap around here. So you have to be in the exact right spot and likely get inside of that curtain of rain before you can see anything. And I do not advise anybody to do that. You've seen the video from Adam and Melissa. They get close and they have to run, but they have radar inside their vehicle. They're in communication with us as well, and they've been chasing significant storms all across the country for a decade now. So they know what they're doing and know what to look for inside of these storms. So again, back to the velocity. This is, again, just showing us there is very significant rotation. This red, so this is coming from the radar down in Granger in northern Williamson County. The red is winds going away. The greens is winds coming in. But anytime you get these colors bleeding over, that means the radar is seeing significant, what we call gate-to-gate shear, where winds are just moving in opposite directions. And that is showing us that there is rotation inside of that thunderstorm. that likely could be producing a tornado. We just have not seen any ground truth of that. Back to the wider view of everything, this line is starting to come together a little bit. We have another storm that we've been watching starting to develop up in parts of Erath County, Hamilton County, Bosque County. There's been a little bit of rotation in it, but nothing that is like this storm here in Coryell County. Fortunately, the southern part of this line has not strengthened much. Really, this one storm here has been the main show, and that's going to be something we're going to have to watch. Again, kind of bullseyed right onto Lake Belton areas where if you draw this path out the way it's been going, this is going to be a major Bell County storm that we could be watching in the next hour or so. So this is the Lake Belton view. This is from the Dead Fish Grill, looking off towards the west and northwest from Lake Belton. So this is looking right about here, looking straight up towards this storm. So you can see just how stormy it looks, but the features of this storm will start to become a better view as the storm gets close. So again, we're talking about a storm that has had observed hail upwards of golf ball size or larger, but the potential of upwards to baseball size hail is possible with this storm as well. So we just got word from the National Weather Service. They're chatting with us over a chat service, and they're saying the same thing as I just said. The storm, it's becoming a very impressive rotation on radar. This is the strongest rotation they've seen so far from this storm, but now it's moved over a military base where we're going to lose eyes on this storm. So we're kind of in a hole where our storm chasers can't see quite as much, but we're getting positioned where we're going to start having a bunch of eyeballs on this storm as it continues to work across post. So let's take you a little closer. I want to kind of show you again. Again, the rotation is going to go near and just south of the North Fort Hood area. So this is coming out of Gatesville, where you kind of cross the corner of Fort Hood going down Highway 36. So this very strong rotation is going to slide near and just south of North Fort Hood. So we're still talking in Coryell County right now, south of the Gatesville area. So moving across the Fort Hood military reservation there. Again, the training grounds there across North Fort Hood. So we do not have any eyeballs out here to see, but we're getting vehicles along Highway 36 that we'll be able to see, and we've got other vehicles down on Highway 317 getting repositioned as well. So this is the view Sean Bellafury has. He's heading more on the western side, looking back at this storm. So Sean's going to be heading more towards I-14 to get a better vantage point of this storm as it moves closer to parts of the southern, or parts of Bell County. So this is where the rotation is. Again, right now moving across the military land that we can't get to. But now we've got to start, the storm has held its rotation strong enough and its strength strong enough. The warning right now runs until 3:15. That goes right up to the county line. But it's time where, we're within now, schools are letting out. Folks are getting ready to get off work. You need to start thinking ahead in Bell County. I'm not guaranteeing that there's going to be a tornado in Bell County, but now is the time. You've got plenty of time to prepare for a potentially very dangerous storm that is going to be rolling down to the southeast. So anyone that lives, I would say right now, if you live from I-14 to I-35 northwest in Bell County, you need to start making sure everybody is somewhere that's safe. You need to make sure your vehicle is somewhere where it's not going to get pounded by large hail, and know what to do if a tornado is issued in your area. So what we tell people is you need to get inside. We don't want you outside looking at the storm. Watch us on TV. We've got storm chasers watching this from every angle. They're watching it, keeping safe. I want you to keep safe. But what we need you to do is find a good, sturdy interior room of your house. If you live in a mobile home or travel trailer, manufactured home, find somewhere else to get. If you have friends that live nearby, family live nearby, we want you there. If you live in an apartment, we want you down on that lower floor because that's a safer place. But once you find a good, sturdy building, we want you as far inside as possible. What we tell all our kids in Project Tornado is the bathroom is typically the best place because the pipes in the walls kind of had a little extra foundation or strength to those walls. So if you can get in the bathtub, find some pillows, sofa cushions put over you. One other thing we tell kids on our Project Tornado is they've got a softball helmet or a bike helmet, baseball helmet, put the helmet on. We want to protect your head because when tornadoes happen, debris is flying around a lot, and we want you inside, away from those windows, away from any of that debris outside. Again, we're painting a large area in Bell County where there's not even a warning yet, so it's that thinking through what you should do, because once a tornado gets close, everything happens fast and it gets really scary. So we want you to know what to do, make sure everybody's good and planned. We're going to be right here with you throughout it. So if we do get a tornado in this area, we're going to be here nonstop keeping you posted. We zoomed out a little bit just because this storm is moving over, again, parts of Fort Hood. We're not forgetting about you folks there in Coryell County. If you live between the North Fort Hood area, and again, flat, once you're getting back off of the post, then that's areas we got to watch. Let's jack back in with Adam Sucher. Adam, what are you seeing from your vantage point, and where are you at on this storm right now?
Ready, we're currently going down 36. We're just about 2 miles north of Platte, and we're looking back towards the storm. Like I was saying earlier, this is HP high precipitation. You're not going to be able to see anything. So if you're thinking about going outside and trying to look for a tornado, you're not going to see anything. It's basically just rain curtains, very dark. You'll see a view here in a minute when we get to the hill. It's also run over the Fort Hood Reservation, like you were saying, so we're kind of crawling down 36 with the storm. At this moving southeast, there's a view right there. Probably have a few seconds delay. But this storm is definitely just very grungy looking back off to our south. Just due to the base of it being so high precipitation. We're going to stop up here and get y'all a little bit better vantage point just so you can see what the storm actually visually looks like. So we're up on top of the hill here, just outside of Platte. Here we go. Hopefully you got a nice view of that. So this is what we're looking at. It's hard to see inside of this storm to know visually is there a tornado or not. Even though radar is showing very tight circulation, it's hard to confirm besides using the radar. So we're just looking at basically a huge HP supercell that's crawling down 36. And you can see that green color like you were saying earlier. There's large hail, very strong wind, and possibly there could be a tornado inside here, but we cannot visually see this. In this storm, I would expect it to continue to look like this as it moves down 36, where it stays very hard to see inside of the storm what's going on. So, very dangerous storm.
All right,
hopefully, y'all are getting a great view right now of the storm as it is moving down 36 from our vantage point.
Yeah, we are, Adam. Thank you for that view. And again, as Adam said, you know, this is what we call an HP supercell, a high precipitation supercell. Adam's sitting a ways away, but you're getting what is likely a big curtain of rain. There is a very good chance that inside of this area where you kind of see that lighter color shows some of that rotation wrapping around, and that greenish shade is likely showing the potential of hail falling. So there, honest to goodness, could be hail wrapping around and heavy rain wrapping around what could be a significant tornado right now where nobody can see. We're not going to see anything until damage starts to occur, and that's not something we like to do here. But as this storm moves off of post, the radar will start to be able to pick up if there is any debris with this storm. But this is, again, a very, very dangerous storm. We've got Adam sitting here on Highway 36 looking at this storm. We've got other chasers. Sean is a little more, Sean's in the weather edge. He's more on the backside of this thunderstorm getting set down in Bell County. Camille Hawksworth's in the Weather Explorer on Highway 317. So we're watching this from multiple vantage points. Again, this closest view we have right now is from our Weather Authority chase team, and Adam and Melissa Sucher have chased countless numbers of tornadoes, and they live in Bell County. You see Adam getting outside to try to get probably a little of how it feels and pictures that they can send back to us. But they've seen these style storms, and unfortunately, this is how the majority of tornadoes in our area are, and this is now just completely filled in with rain. So Adam is looking pretty much right here is where he's watching. So he's very close to this storm, and this right in here, somewhere in here, is where there is likely the potential of a significant tornado on the ground. When you watch with just radar, it is screaming at us that there is a tornado right in this area here. We have no ground truth. Again, it's in an area where vehicles can't get, but it has been showing this style of very strong rotation for a half hour now. So a lot of times with storms, they'll pulse up and they'll die off, but this is not doing this. This is showing that this is a very strong supercell storm that has been showing consistently stout, very strong rotation, but the problem is it is running into an area of very thick humidity, a lot of moisture, and again, we've lost any visual clues as of now. And again, it's also moving across the northern parts of Fort Hood, so it's in an area where our chasers can't get any closer to it. So kind of give you, again, you see East Range Road there. Again, it's going to come near or just south of Flat. So this is going to move likely just south of the Flat area, but it's going to start to impact Highway 36 soon. And then as we get again, out of the Coryell County area, eventually into Bell County. This is where we're going to have to start watching, and we're going to go from an area where there's not any housing or anything like that. This is going to go just south of the North Fort Hood area where some of the gate, some of the infrastructure is there. But then we're going to start moving into more highly populated areas. So again, this is a storm. We have to take all the precautions and be prepared, because it's going to be one of those, once we do see any rotation, it's probably going to be too late for any of this to be any helpful for us. And give me just a second here. I want to, let me see if I can get this to, yeah, okay, so this isn't, I'm going to have to watch this a little bit more, but you see this little dip in the color right here? So what this product's doing is it's trying to find stuff in the air that's not shaped like a raindrop or a hailstone. So again, there's not a lot out here, but it could be tree limbs and stuff like that, but we're getting a little dip. This is called correlation coefficient, a fancy term that the radars now can see kind of the shapes of what's inside the cloud. So it looks like, we'll watch this a little bit more. It's not showing anything really screaming at you, but there could be some stuff getting lofted up into the atmosphere. Let's give you a recap here, or a new pass along. So 3:14 on the clock, we have a new tornado warning in effect. I was telling the folks just a few minutes ago that this was likely to come for Bell County. So we have a new tornado warning. This is what the National Weather Service is passing along. Goes until 4 o'clock. The risks are a tornado and at least golf ball size hail. Storm is moving southeast at 30 miles per hour. And again, this is a storm that is likely producing a tornado. Radar indications are really screaming at us that there is a tornado inside of this storm. So let's show you, again, we're going to kind of roughly go here. And again, I'm going about at 30 miles per hour. This is some of the rough timing that we're watching. So it's going to move across Fort Hood. Blora, you're looking at about 3:30, 3:35. So you've got 15 to 20 minutes. You need to be taking your plans. If you live anywhere around Blora, Lake Belton, Miller Spring Park, we're talking about 3:45 roughly. Belton, I'd say 3:45 to 3:50. I move these times up. I'd rather you be in your safe place a few minutes early than trying to put off time. Temple College, we're getting closer to 4 o'clock that storm's going to move there, and eventually is going to work right across Temple and eventually push into the southeastern parts of Bell County. So a very dangerous storm that has a track record of producing hail that could at least be golf ball size. It's had a very long track history of producing high winds. Our storm chasers have felt winds of upwards of 80 miles per hour. The National Weather Service still doing the same thing. And actually, this is kind of interesting here. So they put a tornado warning out for this particular part of the storm here. They put out a severe thunderstorm warning for this part of the storm here. So we've got two separate areas of severe weather that are going to kind of roll across the same area. The hail threat not as bad down there. I want to take a look at okay, so this will be something we'll have to watch. It's not as bad right here, but there is a little notch right here. So we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for western Bell County. We need to watch that as it moves along I-14. The significant rotation right now, and again, likely a tornado on the ground. This is, when these bleed together like this and you get kind of that pink shade there, that is extreme rotation in a very, very small area. So you see the view there that Adams had. Unfortunately, this storm's going to have to get nearly right up on top of you before we get anything that shows us of ground truth. I'm going to go back to again, tracking the potential debris. I'm not seeing as much. And again, this, unfortunately, seeing the debris is a late kind of a tool that we use, because that means it's already hit something. And again, we don't see that as much when it's moving across the northern parts of Fort Hood, because it's all training area that it's there. But this rotation, this storm is getting very close to Highway 36. Again, from flat southeast. Again, here's Mother Neff State Park right here. So these are some of the landmarks you need to know if you live anywhere near. And again, we're talking from there south, and this storm is about to be crossing into Bell County. And even if you don't have the tornado, you see this area here, you see where it goes from no rain at all, and then it's just green to nearly red. That tight gradient right there is a sign of very strong straight line winds. As we've been seeing with our chasers, they get close to the storm and then they've got to bail, because we're talking about extremely strong straight line winds. Upwards of 80 miles per hour could be involved with this storm. So that is going to be working towards the county line, and that's going to be working towards Lake Belton as well. So if you have to be driving anywhere near this, expect the potential of these strong winds. We need folks in Bell County to get to where you need to be now. You still got some time, but you're running out of time with this storm. This is a very, very dangerous storm that, again, from what we're seeing, has all the clues that we need to say that there is likely a tornado on the ground right now. But, man, every time I go to this velocity, it just worries me more and more. This blue is where it's bleeding over even more. I mean, we are seeing as extreme rotation as you can see without 100% saying there's a tornado on the ground. So very, very dangerous, very, very significant rotation. So we need folks in Bell County to be taking all their tornado precautions right now. Again, if you live in this polygon, you're in the threat area of a storm that's going to produce 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. It's going to produce hail upwards of maybe golf ball size or larger. You have, again, that tornado threat is what we get worried about with this storm. We do not have any verification. You see we're switching between different camera views from our different chasers that have got different vantage points, but Adam and Melissa Suker have been right next to this rotation for over an hour now, and they've confirmed what we've been saying, that this is likely a storm wrapped in rain that makes it where it's nearly impossible to see what's going on inside this storm. Let's go back to the velocity here, and again, that area is what we're watching. Real quickly, I want to give a kind of a wide view of how this whole storm system's evolving. We have severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Bosque and Hill County. For this storm up here that has been growing rather quickly as it crossed Highway 281. No warnings for Bell County or McLennan County right now. Bell County, a completely different story. But we've got a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm that's moving down near Killeen right now, that's moving east. And then we've got this tornadic potential storm where the tornado warning is in effect for areas west of Temple, and more severe thunderstorm warnings for storms down in the hill country that are eventually going to work into the western portions of Williamson County. We just got word from the emergency management in Bell County that they are sounding the sirens on the west side of Temple. That is for this storm that is likely to produce a tornado. We keep in contact and talk with the emergency management to get some great emergency managers there in Bell County. They're not blowing those sirens for nothing. What those sirens are made for is to tell people outside you really need to get inside as fast as you can. A very dangerous storm is moving in that's working its way right across. It's pretty much getting close to moving across Highway 34 right now. And you can see Adam's nearly got his camera pointing up. That's because the rotation is coming very close to them. But it's right in this area here. You see where there's the darker red, and then you got this lighter here. So there's still some strong updraft, but we're getting that wraparound moisture in there. And as Adam's that continuing what you're seeing the signs of rotation, but I can't, I'm guessing there's nothing you could see through all this thick moisture, right?
Yes, Brady. I'm sitting down 36 between the flat and the grove, and basically what we see is the rain bands circulating around this thing. So we can see the rotation of the rain bands getting feed back into the supercell. So just from the visual standpoint that I'm seeing, like I would say there's a high chance that there's probably at least an intermittent tornado or a possible tornado that's on the ground that's inside the rain band, so we can't see past it. But a lot of times when we have this real strong circulation that we see wrapping around the storm like this, it's normally sitting behind those rain bands. So you can't see anything. Basically, by the time the rain bands get on top of you, it would most likely be, a tornado or large hail damaging winds. So this is a violent supercell. I would not take this one lightly. This one is one of the strongest we have seen in a while. It has very large hail damaging winds and potentially most likely even a tornado that's inside of the rain. So we can't even see what's going on or the exact location. We can only tell by radar currently, but these rain bands are wrapping around rapidly with this thunderstorm. So I would not be surprised if there's at least an intermittent tornado or a tornado on the ground currently with this storm as it moves down Highway 36.
Thank you, Adam. And again, you heard Adam say, I'm like I've told you, these are trained storm chasers that are as talented storm chasers I know that have seen countless number of tornadoes. They live in Bell County. They know this area, and this is as strong as a storm they've seen in a while in this area. And again, I don't know the last time I've seen the blues show up with the way our color table works on this. So that's extreme winds going this way, extreme winds going the other way, very tight rotation. But when we go back to the reflectivity, what reflectivity just means, it's the rain view of the storm. It's all wrapped up in rain, and not just a little bit of rain, extremely heavy rain and likely hail that is falling in and around this severe thunderstorm. So we've got people very close to it. We don't want anybody out there getting as close as Adam and them are getting. Again, they've got radar, they've got communication with me, they know what they're doing, they know the terrain and how to get around, and they're staying as safe as they can where they are with this storm. The latest reports of hail from the radar still showing, again, in that kind of $50 to golf ball size is what we're expecting right now. And that's still, again, this product's a little delayed, but that's moving across parts of North Fort Hood and going to move right through the flat area. So the warning that's in place for this storm is a tornado warning that runs until 4 p.m. The area that we're watching with this storm is this area right in here that's sitting right near and south of Flat. So this is going to pretty much run parallel to Highway 36. So here's Highway 317. That's kind of the eastern edge of this warning. So Moody, you're not under this warning. Belton, Temple, you're not under this warning right now. But again, the emergency management in Temple worried enough with the storm that they've, in advance of the warning, went ahead and sounded the tornado siren. So if you hear those sirens, that's giving you plenty of notice, advance notice, to get inside. That's what tornado sirens are for. Is it's not safe to be outside. You need to get inside, make a plan, and know what to do. So have ways to get your weather information. Again, we're here on air. If you happen to lose your TV signal, lose power, we're on Facebook. We're on our free weather app. That's the best resource. Jillian Grace, you haven't seen her here. She's running back and forth and updating the app with specific information. We're streaming our coverage here on our app as well. So we've got all the info you need to keep yourself safe with this storm. So let's zoom back out real quick and kind of give you a broad view. Waco has been quiet. Right now, Waco's kind of in between storms. You're going to see some rain along Highway 84. I have to watch this storm up to the north, but nothing of any immediate circumstances that we're overly worried about with the Waco, McLennan County area. Bell County is where we're really worried, and then severe thunderstorms stretch down to the south through Burnett, and the warnings stretch all the way into the western portions of Williamson County right now. So a lot that we're watching, and again, this one significant storm. So we've got this significant storm right here. I want to take you a little closer again. It's right on that edge of working its way through posts. So right now, FM 184. So from Flat, we're covering it up a little bit, but there's the Grove. So from the Flat to the Grove area, then we're going to be talking about the areas of northern and northwestern Bell County that we're getting worried. Again, this rotation is just sitting just barely off of Highway 36. I want to put a measurement tool on this real quick. This rotation is 3 to 4 miles away from Highway 36 right now. We've again been showing you our storm chaser views. All right, so we just got a confirmed tornado from the emergency management on North Fort Hood Street, confirmed by the fire department there. Okay, so we'll check in with Jillian here in a second. She's going to pass that along to the folks on our app. So again, that's on North Fort Hood Street in Killeen. All right, so looking over everything here. So, all right, guys, if y'all can take that Killeen sky cam and look around. I'm not seeing anything here. Now we've got, right in this area here. We'll watch this closely, but again, we just got a report, and we'll pass along once this comes to us kind of unfiltered, so we'll get better locations and all that. Again, you live in Bell County right now, particularly anywhere west of I-35, you've got a major, major thunderstorm rolling in that even if the tornado threat's not overly high where you are, you're going to have 70-plus mile-per-hour winds. That can cause significant damage. You're going to have hail anywhere from $50 to maybe a golf ball size with this storm. And again, we are very worried about the rotation inside of this storm. And we've got people watching this from all different vantage points. We've got our full team right here located on it. And again, I just saw the National Weather Service's double checking with that report that came in from emergency management so we can get a better location. I think where us and the Weather Service are seeing that the radar is not matching up exactly with what they were saying there. So we'll get that info passed along. The radar, the rotation may have come down just a little bit, but this is actually would be extreme rotation. That's how strong the rotation has been inside of this storm. Again, we're sitting about 3-4 miles southwest of Highway 36, so southwest of the flat area. And again, this rotation is moving to the southeast. I'm going to show you what the last hour of this rotation has looked like and kind of show you the path that it's went on. It's been moving on a so here's kind of you can see that this has been extreme rotation for over a half hour, or over an hour. It crossed Highway 84. It has not really changed its track all that much. The view you see there in the corner, that's from our Skycam network. That's over the Killeen area, looking off kind of to the west, southwest from there. So we're watching that. Okay. So we're getting reports more that it's probably across North Fort Hood is where that tornado was viewed at. So that's good news. We're more worried right now about the straight line winds right now in the Killeen area. So Sean, we're going to check in with Sean Bellafury, who's in our Weather Edge. You look like you're getting some nasty weather there. Where are you at in the Killeen area, Sean?
Oh boy, Brady, talk about nasty. We are sitting in Central Texas College right now, just east of Copper's Cove. We were not going to be able to outrun this storm, so we just tried to find the best spot for it. We absolutely cannot see more than a quarter mile in front of us, and we're not even in the heaviest rain of this storm. You can kind of see the sheets of rain in front of us. The Weather Edge measured 30 miles per hour, but we were shaking, so I'm assuming that those winds were at least 40 miles per hour or greater. Very heavy rain. We're seeing a lot of lightning, and, we may not be in the tornadic part of the storm, but I think this just goes to show everyone out there that this tornado that we're, talking about moving into Bell County with the tornado warning, you will not be able to see this storm. So if you are in the path, we can't even see the road in front of us, so there's no way y'all are going to be able to see a tornado. So just be very, very careful. We're going to sit here. We just got pelted with a big hailstone, it sounded like. So yeah, we're riding this out.
All right, thank you, Sean. And again, where he was at is just there at the Central Texas College area. So I-14, you can see where that it's got worse as he's been there. So that's the view that he has. In the corner of your screen there, that is the view from our Weather Authority chase team, Adam and Melissa Suker. They've been on Highway 36 trying to watch this rotation as it's working its way towards parts of Bell County. And then we've got also our Weather Explorer that's out a little farther away, more on Highway 317, giving us a broader view of the rotation. So we're watching it from multiple different angles. Again, this is likely a circulation that is very wrapped up in rain, that if there is a tornado, it's going to be very, very hard to see the tornado in this storm, because where the rotation is, that again is just sitting south of Highway 36. So this is going to move. Here's Morgan's Point. Here's Blora. So this is going to work right towards Lake Belton, and there is a ton of homes in and around the Lake Belton area, but it's likely to pass from there right across northern parts of Belton, and then could move into parts of Temple as well. And again, earlier the emergency management in Temple went ahead and set off the tornado sirens in the western parts of Temple. So those have already been put on, but the tornado warning is not even for that area yet. But this storm is moving about 30 miles per hour to the southeast. We'll give it another track, and this is where the rotation is. You're going to pick up the winds and the bad weather before this rotation makes it there, but this is about how long you have until a tornado could be on the ground in your area. So Belton, we're talking about 4 o'clock, so we're still 25 minutes or so until it makes it to you. Roughly about the same time in and around the Salmons Golf Course area, downtown Temple, right at or just a little after 4 o'clock, Wilson Park, around 4 to 4:10, and then we start talking about towns and communities southeast of Temple, like Little River Academy, around 4:15. So we've got a lot of areas that we're going to be watching with this, but this rotation has been going for an hour and a half or so now, and is a significant rotation that has shown a major track record of keeping that rotation. That's rare inside of storms like that. Usually they'll pulse up and then they pulse back down. That's the way the rotation did on Wednesday. It was a strong storm, but it never showed this tight of rotation with those storms. So the tornado threat right now is significantly higher than it was with the storms that moved through Central Texas on Wednesday. The hail threat ended up being significant, but this is a hail threat for a large area, but we're talking probably $50 to golf ball size. And then again, a significant rotation right now, a storm that we don't have any ground truth on, but you can see that view in the corner of your screen there. Adam, Melissa Suker, you can see all the visual clues that this is you kind of see that curve to the cloud there. That's the kind of the base of where all the warm air is flowing into this thunderstorm. Inside of that area where you see that kind of that lighter green color that's just past the clouds there, that's where a possible tornado is. But again, it's wrapped in rain. It's just now exiting off of Fort Hood. So we're going to start seeing if there's a storm on the ground. We're going to start to pick up by looking at debris. I don't see anything on that, so that's good news. But as Adam has told you from the ground truth there, even if a tornado is not on the ground, we're dealing with a storm with potential of 70-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size or larger hail. So still a very, very significant storm. And again, the tornado warning is out because this storm has shown a persistent history of producing very violent rotation inside of it. But again, a storm that is likely wrapped up in rain. So if you live anywhere that's inside of this warning, from the Bell County line all the way to roughly Highway 317, so that's the western parts of Belton, Lake Belton, Morgan's Point, Blora, some of those are areas that are under this. You need to be in your tornado safe area now. You need to get your whole family together, get inside, wait this storm out. Again, you've got a storm that you will have no lead time visually seeing it if you walk out and want to look at it. Again, the view you're seeing here from our storm chasing team, they've been tracking this storm all the way since Evant, and they have seen consistent signs of rotation. But after the storm made it past Evant and crossed Highway 84, that's when the moisture really increased in it. We lost really any visual clues. So you're going to get a quick increase of winds. You're going to get an increase in the rain and potential hail, and then that's when the tornado threat will start to go up, particularly in areas in this warning polygon right now. So we need to respect the polygon. We need to take those correct precautions, because a very strong storm that could be producing a tornado right now. And again, all the radar indications are, that's where the nice thing with the radar technology we have, we can see through the rain and see what the winds are doing, and we still have pretty significant what we call gate-to-gate shear inside of this storm, where that rotation right now is pretty much crossing the county line. It's not as extreme as it was, say, 5 to 10 minutes ago, so that's good news, but there's still significant enough rotation that we do expect that there could be wrapped in rain a tornado inside of this. It doesn't look, again, as wild as it did 10 to 15 minutes ago, but this storm has shown a history of pulsing some, as supercells typically do, and that's a worry we have, and that's why the tornado warning has been issued for that as well. So, yeah, we're continuing to check on some of these storms here and what folks are checking in. We haven't heard anything. Again, it's starting now to move into a little more metropolitan areas, so we'll get a better view of if any ground truth to what the radar's showing. Again, the one takeaway we've had in the last couple of scans is the rotation not as bad as it looked just 10 to 15 minutes ago, but that doesn't mean the storm has given up the rotation by any means, or something that we don't need to take seriously. But again, a rotation right now that's starting to work its way close into the Moffett area. Here's Morgan's Point, here's Highway 36. So this is going to cross right across Highway 36, and then if I take this over just a little bit, what disappeared off the screen there. Let me get it back a little closer. So here's John Miller Airport. That rotation sitting right up here. So we're within probably 5 miles of the John Miller Airport. Miller Spring Park, Morgan's Point area right here. It's going to move right across parts of Lake Belton as well, as part of the view that we're going to see with some of these storms that are moving through. And Adam, he actually lives not far from in this area here, so he knows the good vantage points to sit and watch a storm. So he's set up with a good view there. I want to give you kind of the other view that we have. This is a further away view on Highway 317, but this is from Camille Hawksworth, and she's got a farther away vantage point. You can kind of see, again, that kind of bell shape, or that barrel shape is probably the better way to explain that, what we call mesocyclone. That's the big rotating part of the storm there. And again, this is kind of a little further away, but showing kind of the structure of this storm as it's going to work its way closer to Highway 317 as that storm continues to work its way east and southeast. Radar indicating we could see some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds, even if a tornado's not on the ground working towards the Lake Belton area. As the storm continues to work its way just near and south of Highway 36 is where the rotation is. It's just getting gobbled up by all this rain. It's right in here. But again, that's not the only thing we're focusing on from pretty much Highway 36 south. We showed you earlier and talked to Sean that this wind just was slamming them with heavy rain and hail. That's crossing right along Highway 14. So from Killeen to Harker Heights right now, that's the big threat there along with the hail, but then the rotation is what we're watching. I want to check back in with Adam Suker. Adam, y'all been able to see anything, or is it still kind of that concern of everything being rain wrapped?
We're currently sitting in Moffett, right there, basically where the 36 Long Bridge is that goes across the river here to Belton Lake, and we're still seeing the same thing. We can see some broad rotation within the clouds, but the rain is obscuring our view. Obviously, our view now is not looking back. We're having to go ahead and reposition. Go that way, go out. We're having to reposition because the storm's approaching us. Obviously, has very large hail and all that, but yeah, the storm, it's hard to get a good visual of what's going on just due to the nature of the beast of so much precipitation coming down and looking back into it. But we can still see that there's broad rotation on the outskirts of the rain, so you can watch the rain as it's wrapping around the storm and trying to pull back in. So we know there's still rotation with the storm. We just cannot see past those rain curtains to know, is there visually a tornado past the rain curtains or not.
Okay. Thank you, Adam. And again, it's getting visually hard to see with this storm. So we're getting close to 340 right now. I want to show you the last 40 minutes of the velocity, and you can see how bright the colors were, and even where it was coming at blue shade. This is when it was moving across parts of North Fort Hood. A little bit of good news with this, and something we can take a little bit of breath with, is that the rotation has decreased in intensity at least some. So Adam still said he's seeing that broad rotation. Again, we can't see into the core of this thunderstorm real well. We can see it with radar, but the radar, fortunately, has brought the speeds down in this rotation at least some. So still a rotating thunderstorm, not as tight of rotation as we had just 15 to 20 minutes ago, but we still want to be very prepared that a very strong thunderstorm that has had a track record of producing significant rotation, and even if you're not going to get a tornado, you're going to get a very stout thunderstorm right now that's already worked across the western parts of Bell County, likely producing 60 to 70 mile per hour winds right on top of Lake Belton right now. And that's the view that Adam has going across the dam there, looking off towards the east. That's the view, pretty close to the view we also show you with our Skycam there at the Dead Fish Grill. That's roughly about where they're looking out there across Lake Belton. So again, that's the view of the storm moving across Lake Belton right now. So significant winds. Again, the rotation is working its way right onto the lake right now, and then high winds, heavy rain, and hail stretching from Lake Belton all the way past Killeen, and then all the way down towards, say, the Briggs area there in Burnett County is kind of what we're watching. So looking ahead, anywhere in Bell County around I-35, be prepared for a storm that's going to produce some high winds, heavy rain, frequent cloud to ground lightning. And again, we're still watching this rotation that could be producing a rain-wrapped tornado as the storm works its way towards the Temple Belton area right now. Again, the last couple of scans, and we just got a new one in that should be updating here in just a second, did show it's still bright enough, though. It may be becoming a little more or less balanced than it was, but what this is showing you is the reds are winds going away from the radar into the storm. Greens are winds that are wrapping around the other way, and that's showing that there's still at least broad rotation, but still, this is better rotation than we had with any thunderstorm on Wednesday. So, again, we're better than we were, but I still want you to stay very, very vigilant and very concerned, because we still are of that potential of tornadoes. Again, here's that latest view, and again, not as tight as it was, but still significant rotation with this storm. So at any time, a tornado could touch down with this. We've got eyeballs watching storms from all over the place. Jillian Grace is in the Weather Center, kind of watching all of our sky cams and storm chaser feeds. Jillian, what is it looking like out there across Central Texas?
Well, here's what it looks like at UMHB. Almost nighttime right now because of these dark clouds that are building in. I do want to point out one thing. So you see how we start to see, well, what looks like the sky reaching down to the ground. That's actually some of the heaviest rain that's in front of that storm system that will be making its way again into the Belton area. We're actually crossing pretty close to Interstate 35 here pretty soon. Another thing that we want to show you is also the color. That green shows you the intensity of the storm. So a lot of times when our skies turn green, that's indicating the potential of, again, just the hail, and also, also the potential of a tornado. But yeah, this is definitely the view right now that is at UMHB, and things are looking pretty scary out there, Brady, right now. All
right, thank you, Jillian. Again, yeah, we're going to check in with more of our cameras as we continue to go through the next, now we can see with more of our cameras as they come closer to downtown. So again, here's the rotation we're seeing on radar. The view you see there is from Adam and Melissa Sucre, our Weather Authority chase team. Adam, I know you got repositioned. Are you getting any better view of what's, it looks like still a very rain-wrapped system, but how's the rotational features look with this storm?
Brady, we just now made it just outside of Moffett, and we're looking back towards the storm. I'm trying to get you a better view here. So there's still broad rotation with the storm from what we can see. We can see the rain band circulating around the storm, especially if you look off right here to really close to the 36 side on the right-hand side of your screen. You can see where a lot of that is pushing out and then trying to get pulled right back in, pretty much where that cell phone tower is blinking. And as you can tell, there's a lot of precipitation with this. It's right along 36. We're just off of 36, just on the outskirts of coming into Temple here within the next few miles. And it's hard to tell what's inside of there, but we can definitely tell that there's still some broad rotation that's pulling around the storm through these rain bands. And it's very close to 36 right now. It looks like it's actually just skirting right along the 36, especially just on that southwest side of 36. So you can see just we're pointing pretty much south right now with our camera view. Back to you.
Yeah, so all right, thank you, Adam. And again, yeah, you could hear the wind blowing and again, rain wrapped. The view you see right now in the corner of your screen is from Camille Hawksworth and our Weather Explorer. Camille, where are you at and what are you seeing with the rotation? It looks like a very supercell style setup you've got right there.
Hey Brady, yes, we are sitting on 317 between Moody, or just south of Moody really, and this thing, since you've been talking to Adam, has evolved so quickly. We're watching definitely some rotation within this storm. There's been some lowering as well, so we're keeping close eyes on this. It's been rapidly changing. I think you've been saying that too on air, is this thing has been just kind of rotating and moving the entire time. And so what we're watching is we're pointing off towards, it looks like towards the Grove, between Moffat and the Grove. And so that's what we're watching right now, is that lowering that's continuing to, we're watching that one right here on our.
All right, thank you, Camille. So yeah, so that's the view she has, looking a little more farther away, but that's pretty significant structure that she's seeing there around the Moffat and Grove area from her vantage point. Again, kind of more in the middle of it is what we're seeing from our Weather Authority chase team there. And again, right now, this is moving right on top of kind of on the Morgan's Point area right now. And again, the takeaway from this right now is there's still persistent rotation. It's not as strong as it looked earlier, but even if we don't see a tornado in this, we've got a very nasty thunderstorm that's working its way right through Bell County right now. Still, and this is kind of interesting here. So where Camille is, she actually had a better vantage point. This is the first time this notch kind of has opened up a little bit where we're getting to see inside of here. So the storm could be kind of recirculating. We get this with storms where they'll pulse. They're what we call cyclical cell. I try not to use that many syllables because I'll mess it up. Cyclical cells, storms that pulse up, pulse down as they maybe get some warmer air, interact with some cooler air that weakens it some. But we could see a redeveloping area very close to where Camille's watching there. So she has from 317 where she's now seeing into this very kind of small band here of what looks like that rotation inside of that storm that she's watching. So we've really been focusing on this storm here. And again, that tornado warning, we'll have to check with the Weather Service. They haven't said anything yet about extending this warning. Again, that runs until 4 o'clock, so we've still got 13 minutes. Want to check in with Jillian Grace. She's going to give us a little tour elsewhere across Central Texas, and we'll come back right to this storm here in just a minute or two. Jillian?
Yeah, hey there, Brady. So again, as far as what we're going to be seeing area-wide is that line of storms that is now approaching the I-35 corridor. Again, if you're not under this tornado warning, we have a number of severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing, especially across the southern half of the area. Now, within this line of storms, again, excluding the area of rotation that we're watching in Bell County, one of our concerns moving forward are going to be some strong straight line winds and also still some large hail. Even when we look at some of the hail reports that are being picked up across our southern areas, well, this is actually a severe thunderstorm that is moving through, will be making its way into the Hill County area right near Lake Whitney. Small hail, but nothing too bad here at the moment. But this is the problem. Those storms that, again, that are severe in that line of storms that's moving across our southern areas, we're seeing a line of some large hail from Moody all the way down into the Llano area, and this is going to be still building further down to the southeast. So get another quick look at our radar. Those orange boxes that you see, those are all the severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect right now. Thankfully not here in the McLennan County area, and we're actually starting to see those cells break, and we're just seeing some light to moderate rain showers across McLennan County. So the worst of the activity from Gatesville down to the south. Then we have another strong storm that's from Clifton up to Cleburne, and that's also moving further off to the east. So here the next little bit, we're expecting this heavy rain and these strong thunderstorms to still pass right through Interstate 35, and it's going to make a messy commute home for a lot of people this evening, Brady.
Thank you, Jillian. Again, let's get a little closer on this. This is for that tornadic storm. Again, the view you see in the corner, that's a view from 317. So kind of right in this area, looking more. They're probably a little farther north. They're up just near and south of Moody, looking into this rotation. So we've got good eyeballs on this storm. You're seeing the heavy rain start to increase. Here's Adams Avenue that runs from the loop out towards Lake Belton. So we're getting the rain increasing, getting the wind increasing. The rotation of this storm is still sitting just a little off to the northwest of town. So here's Highway 36. Here's 317. The rotation is pretty much right on Highway 36 right now. If there is a tornado, it's sitting right in that area, right on Highway 36. Let's take a look at the rotation. So it's a little off. So we're sitting near and just south of Highway 36 is where the rotation still a little broad, but we've seen it kind of brighten up a little bit in there. So again, this is a storm that's trying its best to kind of re-intensify as this storm is now getting right on top of the Moffett area. And again, we're seeing that heavy rain and wind threat starting to work into the western parts of Temple. So here's the loop, Highway 36 here. Here's Adams Avenue right here. Here's Highway 317 that runs down into the city of Belton. Here's Belton High School. That's right on the edge of the tornado warning. That tornadic threat's going to start to increase right along Highway 317. And speaking of Highway 317, Camille Hawksworth, she is on Highway 317 watching that storm. Camille, what are you seeing in where you're at right now?
Hey Brady, yes, we're sitting right now on 317 and we've got a good vantage point on this storm. The good news is I don't see any rotation at the lower levels, but we are starting to get some pea-sized hail where we are. It's been just very sporadic. It hasn't been, a downpour of hail or anything. It's just here and there, but we've been watching this storm and it doesn't look like it's rotating at the ground level, so that's good. We do see the broad rotation for sure, but that's what we're continuing to keep a close watch on right now.
Service. We've been talking with the National Weather Service, and they're seeing what we are, that the rotation not looking as impressive as it did earlier. The word from the Weather Service this morning runs until 4 o'clock. They're going to wait maybe another scan or two to see if that tornadic threat is increased a little bit. Again, the problem is the area where we're seeing the rotation is kind of right in this area, which is right in the core of where the heaviest rain is. So it's not going to be something we're going to be able to see all that well. We're really having to trust the velocity scans inside of the radar to see if we're getting any strong winds in there. The winds have relaxed, or at least the rotational winds have relaxed just a little bit. But I want to show you, this is a product that shows us just what the straight line wind threat is. And you can see these bright greens in here. That's where we're getting those probably 40 to 60 mile per hour winds, if not stronger, that have blown right across I-14, and that'll start pushing more towards I-35. So that straight line wind threat is definitely there. We've also got the hail concern with this storm. Zoom it out just a little bit, and I'll show you what the latest hail core looks like with this. And actually, we'll show you what the last hour, and it's been a pretty significant track. You can see kind of multiple tracks of hail kind of with this, and again, we've seen a lot develop there south of Highway 190. So we had some hail kind of in that transition area from I-14 to 190, getting closer to the Coppers Cove area. Significant hail core that's been running all across Coryell County, now pushing pretty much right across the Lake Belton area. That is another threat on top of this tornadic threat. The National Weather Service also has told us that a flash flood warning is going to be coming out. So again, we're an hour before a lot of folks may be getting off work. you need to make the choice here pretty soon in on I-35, and it may be too late now to make that choice in the Belton or the Temple and Belton area. But if you live in Salado, I'd stay where you are. You've got a very strong storm that's going to produce very heavy rain, hail, strong straight line winds. The tornado threat right now looks to be north of Salado. It's really right up in this area that's going to pass kind of right across Temple, maybe just to the north of Temple. Again, we've got this little notch here, but the rotation is really showing up in this area. If we didn't have the heavy rain, you would be seeing more of a kind of that classic hook that's here. But since we've got that heavy rain, it's wrapping into all this rotation and just made our visibility nearly nothing with this. You can see what our Weather Authority Chase team's seeing there. They're not seeing much at all because they just can't see inside the storm. Again, the little bit of good news is the rotation's looking a lot more ragged than it did. I think the rotation is coming down. This is just the newest scan. I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service, seeing this, doesn't extend that tornado warning for the I-35 corridor. Still a storm that you want to take the precautions for, that still could strengthen back up, but this storm may have finally ingested enough of the kind of rain-cooled air to cut off some of that rotation. But still something that we want to be careful with. Still got that hail threat. That's definitely going to be arriving into Bell County. Quarter size or $half size hail right now looks to be the main concerns. That high wind is pretty much right on top of I-35 right now. You can see that heavy rain, and again, this leading edge right in here is where that strong wind that's pushing across I-35. Here's the Loop 36 moved right across Wildflower Country Club, Salmon's Golf Club getting hit with that. Eventually we'll get towards downtown Killeen, Baylor Scott and White Hospital there, Miller Park working towards that way, but crossing I-35 right now. So again, this is not a storm you want to be driving up and down I-35 because you're going to get strong crosswinds. And again, this rotation here, if you watched earlier, Adam and Melissa Suker, they got that, what we call that rear flank downdraft, that wraparound wind. A lot of times when we get a tornado, we're concerned about that little area where that tornado is, but this is a big dynamic storm, and those winds can wrap around and cause damage for a widespread area. So again, you're going to have the heavy rain that's going to make it nearly zero visibility trying to drive, potential for hail, which we don't want you driving in either, and again, that high wind potential tornadic threat that could be going on. Just got word from the National Weather Service, and again, they're kind of agreeing with what we're seeing. They are going to allow this tornado warning to expire at 4 o'clock, so that's some good news, but we still have a very significant storm that is working its way right through Bell County right now. So we have a tornado warning that runs for another 5 minutes. The rotation has decreased with that, so that's good news. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that runs until 4:15. That severe thunderstorm threat, and you can see with that entire line of storms that we're watching pretty much from Bell County all the way down south of Llano and kind of scattered down towards the Fredericksburg area. That's where the high wind hail threat is starting to take over. And overall, this storm kind of transitioning, which is good, from a tornadic threat to more of a straight line wind, very, very heavy rain. I'll just take a look at the last hour of the rainfall that we've seen. We've seen some very significant rain. You're talking in the 1 to 3 inch amounts across areas of Fort Hood from Gatesville down towards the Lake Belton area. And this was areas that saw a lot of rain Wednesday. And then we've got some creeks and rivers in Bell County that are also just very flood prone. So we'll have to keep an eye on the Leon River, areas like Nolan Creek, where all this heavy rain in Killeen is going to work towards the Belton area as well. Again, the wind velocity not looking as impressive as it did. So that is why the tornado warning has been allowed to, or will be allowed to expire in about 3 to 4 minutes. So the tornado threat is going down for Bell County. That's good news. Now, that means if you're at home and hopefully you heeded the warning, so this is a good scenario. I love it when we give this warning, but then that threat goes down. That's best case scenario for us. This was a storm that fortunately was strongest when it was over North Fort Hood, so over the training grounds area. It's a lot like the day of the storm when we had the Salado tornado in early April last year. We had a storm do the same thing, move across Fort Hood. But this storm, again, losing intensity, fortunately, as it's now moving into more metropolitan areas. But we still have a very strong storm. So if you're at home and riding this storm out, you still want to stay inside, still want to stay away from windows. We still got very strong winds. We've got a lot of lightning inside this storm. So, staying off of the electronics and stuff like that would be good as well. I want to show you the lightning. It shows a ton of that lightning that's moving across Bell County right now. So that also shows there's a a ton of ice inside that storm. So the hail concern is still there. The latest scan really showing that the largest hail is likely kind of near and south of I-14 across southern parts of Killeen, and then working down towards the Youngsport area is where that stronger hail is going to be. McLennan County, we've actually been pretty quiet across much of our northern counties. We've got one thunderstorm that got stronger and actually may end up where it just kind of splits and works around McLennan County, like Jillian said. We'll have to watch this storm. These storms, if they've gained strength, start to dive a little more southeast. So that's something that we'll continue to watch with these storms to see if they can continue to strengthen. And one thing to point out too, we're still under a tornado watch for areas along and east of I-35. So we're going to continue to watch this tornado threat. Fortunately, Lampasas, Hamilton, Mills County, you're out of the tornado watch, so that's good news. So we've been watching all of our cameras and kind of going back and forth between everything. I want to get back to Jillian Grace, who can show us again some of the view, because it looks pretty nasty out there, Jillian.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right, Brady. This is the view out in Harker Heights, and it's raining so hard we can barely even see off into the distance. And, yeah, all those flashes that you see, that's going to be all of the lightning. Again, these storms just have a lot of energy to work with. We've also seen some reports of some pea-sized hail that fell at the Temple Airport not that long ago, and that's also some of the video that we've been seeing here today is just a lot of small hail, not so much like we were seeing earlier this week on Wednesday. But let's also look at the view out into the Killeen area. Again, this is right along I-14, and yeah, traffic is moving, but if you look closely, I know it may be hard to see at home, but a lot of these cars that are traveling right now, they have their hazards on and flashing. Another sign that, again, it is intense rainfall that is falling. But then when you take it back here, or closer to the Waco area, looking downtown, this is from the Waco ISD building. Really not a whole lot going on. So across McLennan County, again, right now, things are looking calm, but down to our south and also to the north of Waco, it's a much different story. But definitely, if you can, stay at home. We're dealing with some intense rainfall, also some very strong winds that's making driving conditions not ideal, Brady.
All right. Thank you, Jillian. So we told you earlier the National Weather Service was going to issue a flash flood warning. We've had so many different warnings. So here's the latest from the National Weather Service. A new flash flood warning has been issued. We're showing you right now in the Temple area, the TxDOT camera there on I-35. You can see part of the traffic there definitely slowed down, and that the ponding on the roadway is going to be an issue. Traction on the roadways is going to be an issue, but that flash flood warning has been issued for all of Bell County and the southern portions of Coryell County. So that includes a lot of Fort Hood as well. The reason for this is radar indicating anywhere from 1 to 3 inches if rain has already fallen. Another inch to 2 is a possibility, and that's going to lead to some flash flooding concerns. You also really flash flooding becomes a major concern when you get to these major metropolitan areas, because there's more concrete, there's more asphalt, there's less areas to absorb the rain, and we get runoff issues, we get ponding issues in areas that become an issue. So this is the view from our Weather Edge, Sean Bellafuria, that I believe is on I-14 right now. So he's kind of driving around, give us a view of what it looks like out there in all this heavy rain. So let's go back to the wide view, kind of recap what everything's going on. The bit of good news is the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. So that's good news for sure. This was a very massive thunderstorm that started out across northern Mills County and ran all the way across Coryell County and finally lost a little bit of steam as it worked into Bell County. So if you had to go what was the best case scenario, it lost its steam right when it got to some of the more populated areas that the storm rolled over. So that's good news. Let's take the lightning off of this and still have a severe thunderstorm warning. It runs until 4:15. I would not be surprised that this warning is not extended even further. So we're going to expect high winds, heavy rain, and at least quarter-size hail from Temple southeast. So the eastern half of Bell County, Salado, you're starting to get that intensity increasing where you are, and anyone that lives between Belton and Gerald. Belton's already getting the heavy rain and stormy activity, and again, we're going to get that water quickly ponding. When you're getting an inch or higher per hour, there's just nowhere for that water to go. And all this heavy rain and potential hail out in the Youngsport area is going to be working towards Salado, eventually down towards the Gerald area. So that's going to be a concern that we're going to start to see. And that heavy rain already starting to form out in the western parts of the city, Salado. Then again, very heavy rain and that hail out around the Youngsport area. You can see where that hail core is right now. And again, this is slightly delayed, so the hail's probably right in the Youngsport area and probably starting to decrease some in the southern parts of Parker Heights, but we had some hail work through around the West Tremere, Stan Schluter Loop, areas like that. Hail concerns starting to come up some across the city of Temple. So, we showed you that view of the nasty road there on I-35 in Temple. You don't want to be driving on an interstate where you've got packed traffic, heavy rain, and hail. Okay, is he where we can talk to him? All right, so Sean's on I-14. Sean, you just passed a pretty significant wreck, it looked like?
Yeah, it looks like everyone was okay in that accident. Looks to be about 5 cars, a little bit more than a fender bender, but did not look like any injuries. We're on I-14 west, or eastbound rather. We are 1 mile west of Tremere. And that accident was about a half a mile behind us at this point now. So the one thing is we've been driving down from Central Texas College eastbound down I-14. One thing we've definitely been noticing is that the speeds that we're going are very, very slow. We're only going about 40, 45 miles per hour here on I-14. A lot of cars have their flashers on, and the road is very, very wet, and especially, the western part of Bell County where we get this hilly terrain. Oh, wow. We just off to our side, we're by, I think that was Tremere. We're just actually a half a mile before Tremere. I don't know the exact road, but it looks like there's standing water on one of the side streets. Let me just pull up my map to see exactly where we are. But yes, it's pretty dangerous out here on the roads. A lot of cars, with their hazards on, standing water on the roadways too. And it looked like the standing water that we were seeing, we were just passing over by the Urban Air Trampoline Park. That is Highway 195. So Highway 195 and I-14, standing water on that roadway under there.
All right, thank you, Sean. So this is kind of a close-up view of what he was talking about. So here's 195. They're crossing on I-14. We've got the view of the TxDOT where in Temple looks like is that, I don't know what road that is crossing it. So, but yeah, so we're going to start transitioning some. We're not done with the bad weather with this. The tornadic concern looks to be going down, but the heavy rain and hail concern, so you may have just seen somebody, we've got to highly advise against doing what some of those people did. So you see, people driving with their flashers. Please do not stop under overpasses. Okay, during tornadic storms, that becomes very dangerous because wind can actually get pulled through in kind of a tunneling effect. But the other issue you run into is cars driving through blinding rain. They can't see you parked under that overpass. So if maybe they're driving, going to need to avoid a puddle or something, they can hit you without you ever knowing and them ever knowing. So I know there's the heavy rain, hail potential, but find somewhere off of the major roadways. The shoulders, parked under an overpass, is not a safe place to be. And you saw Sean, he looked like water got thrown on where it completely covered. So we need you taking it well below the posted speed limits, taking it slow, and taking it easy. A flash flood warning is in effect for all of Bell County. And folks that are in our southeastern parts of Bell County, you're on a flash flood warning and the rain hasn't even got there yet. So you're likely to see 1 to 3 inch totals quickly move into the eastern parts of Bell County, along with that quarter-size hail and winds that could be 60 to 70 miles per hour. So the way that this is going to kind of transition for you, you're going to first likely get hit with that gust of wind. And then you're going to feel the rain increase. And then the hail potential, that'll start shifting through. And then the rain just sticks around for a while. These storms are only moving at about 25 miles per hour. So that heavy rain is going to last for a while, really, with all this moisture that we've had. We were talking about how we could not see in the significant rotation area with that storm. That's because the moisture wrapped it up. All that moisture is translating into very heavy rain and, again, the potential hail moving across the Bell County area. Waco, McLennan County, everything's quiet. We're still watching some scattered storms, but they're up north across Bosque County. None of them are overly strong right now. No warnings in effect. If we're going to have to watch anything, we'll see this one in Clifton eastward. That's going to move across Hill County. This little storm here, nothing to worry about right now, but it's moving more southeast. So this would be the one if it can strengthen up. Now it's just how much did that storm down south take all the juice out of the atmosphere, but something that we'll be watching. So I believe, Jillian, you got some video of some of the hail that we've been seeing across our area?
Yeah, so some of you at home are starting to send in those pictures and also videos of hail. Now, again, this is not the hail that we were dealing with on Wednesday, but yeah, some of the hail that we've been dealing with is still pretty small in nature, but I think we've been seeing some reports of the largest about golf ball size hail. We've seen in this video right here another pool video that kind of shows you how hard the rain is also falling and how hard the hail is falling, kind of bouncing off the ground there. You can also see how intense the winds are with all of the trees that are blowing around. But yeah, again, hail not as large as what we're seeing on Wednesday. I think that would be potentially about pea to quarter size hail as this storm moves through. But yeah, we definitely appreciate you at home sending us any of your storm pictures or videos, because it helps us tell the story of what's happening outside. Here's another thing that's another hail video being picked up, showing you the hail accumulating on that trampoline there, also bouncing around on the ground. And then also you can kind of hear it. I'll be quiet for a little bit so you can hear the hail falling.
Oh, all right. Thank you, Jillian. Yeah, so that's few. You know, the good thing is, I mean, we're talking quarter-size hail, which is no fun, but it's not the destructive hail that we had with the last storm system, so that's good. Again, we're transitioning along I-35 and I-14 from a strong storm to a heavy rain flood concern, and Sean Bellafury's been on I-14 kind of dealing with that. And Sean, what are you seeing out there in the western parts of Bell County?
Yeah, Brady, we just got to Stan Schluter Loop and I-14. We're going eastbound right now. We're about to flip and go back westbound. We have seen in just the past about 2 miles 3 separate instances of emergency vehicles either working accidents or otherwise. And you can see we're about to come. There's a lot of standing water down here on a lot of these roadways. We're under this overpass right here going the turnaround, and the water's just flowing down. We've seen at least standing water on South Fort Hood Street and I-14, and also it looked like on the access road to I-14 just past Stan Schluter going eastbound, there's also enough standing water that it's probably not safe to drive through. So at least in the eastern part of Bell County, we're not seeing any damage really as we've been driving around, but we're definitely seeing the ponding on the roadways, and some of those surface streets especially are a little bit flooded. So be very careful if you guys are heading out.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. So we're going to continue our coverage through the next till 4:30. We're going to step away for breaks here periodically, but again, tornado watch continues. Particularly near and east of I-35. So we've got it for the next 4 hours. We've still got that threat of tornadic storms. The Bell County storm, fortunately, has transitioned more from a tornadic storm to more of a straight line wind, hail, and heavy rain. I think the heavy rain threat is going to become the biggest concern with that storm now as it continues to move across Bell County. But our team's going to continue to stay here and watch this activity as we go through the next half hour with more updates. And then we'll have all the info you need as we go towards the evening newscast, and if these storms continue deeper into the evening, we'll be there as well. But again, severe thunderstorm warning continues until 4:15 for a storm that is now moving up and down I-35, continuing that coverage down towards Salado. High winds up to 60 miles per hour, at least quarter-size hail. These haven't been the major destructive hail size storms that we saw on Wednesday, so that's good news. And again, the rotation inside this storm has decreased, so that's a good sign as well. Still seeing some broad rotation, but earlier it was just screaming how those bright colors were that we had something to be really concerned about. We're not concerned about the rotation as much with this storm now, but still a strong storm. High winds, heavy rain, hail is something we'll be watching with this storm, so that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on. And guys, what's the timing? I don't know. With this storm. So again, we've got some other scattered storms that we're watching up to the north in Bosque County and along the Brazos River as well. And both of these are moving east, quite across the Waco and much McLennan County. Again, we'll have some more updates coming up, but we'll be right back right after this break.
This is a KWTX News 10 Weather Authority alert.
Meteorologist Brady Taylor here in the Weather Authority forecast center. A severe thunderstorm warning continues for Bell County. That warning has now been extended into the western portions and southern portions of Falls County, and now all of Milam County, or just about all of Milam County, under that warning as well. Not only are we worried about the high wind and hail potential, 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, but the rain rates in this storm have been significant. This is the radar estimating in these white shaded areas, possibly upwards of 5 inches per hour are falling. That's leading to some significant flash flooding concerns. And Sean Bellafury has been out in our Weather Edge, keeping an eye on this on I-14. And Sean, I hear you've seen some pretty significant flooding on the roadways.
Yeah, there's been at least 3 spots that we have seen just driving through Killeen on I-14 that have had standing water on them. We talked about South Fort Hood Street and I-14. It looks like that intersection on the south side of I-14 has enough standing water that, some of those lifted trucks, they were struggling a little bit to get through it. Also on the access road to I-14 going eastbound near Stan Schluter, there was standing water there. Also saw that Killeen Police and also Killeen Fire, looks like they've shut down some of the access road on East Central Texas Expressway westbound near Imperial. There's an Ashley Furniture Home Store right there, so one of the lanes is completely flooded over, and they're kind of diverting traffic around that. But we've been driving both east and westbound, and we've seen a couple of spin-outs. There was one car that spun out about a mile back behind us, and we're coming up to exit 281 by the main gate for Fort Hood. So as you get closer to Killeen proper, Stan Schluter, and all those areas, we're seeing a couple of spin-outs. There's a couple of emergency vehicles both east and westbound in this area.
All right, thank you, Sean. And again, that's the I-14 concern. I-35, I'm sure a mess right now as well, and something we'll continue to keep an eye on. The good news is the wind and hail threat coming down, and really where Sean's been driving across much of Killeen, it's just sprinkles and lighter rain. But that runoff concern, and again, you just saw the water splash up on cars hitting that standing water, and it will reduce your visibility quickly. So plan extra spacing, take it slow. You can see a lot of cars even have their flashers on, so good news to as long as it takes longer to brake, takes longer to react in these type of wet roadways, so definitely take it safe. But up and down I-35 and east of where Sean is on I-14 is still a rainy mess right now. And again, these rainfall rates, the storm is just dumping huge amounts of rain. You're talking about 5 inch per hour rainfall. That water can't go anywhere. Plus, after Wednesday's rain, the ground can't absorb that much moisture, so we're getting significant runoff. Again, ponding on roadways, and then we're going to have to, as the night goes on, we're going to have to keep an eye on, again, the creeks and rivers to see how quickly they can rise. It's always crazy. Central Texas weather changes fast. We've been over a year now talking about drought concerns, and now we're talking about flooding concerns. So here's the new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. That includes eastern portions of Bell County, the southern kind of corner of Falls County. So not Marlin, but Rosebud and Lott. So Highway 77, and then you go down towards Cameron, Rockdale, Thorndale, Milano, all under this warning, all of Milam County under this warning that runs until 5:15. So this line of storms is going to continue to work down to the southeast. Again, as of now, we have not seen anything that makes us concerned about any over concern of tornadic activity. The broad rotation is still sitting right here, that little notch that we watch right there. We'll keep a vigilant eye on it to see if it tries to intensify some, but it's running into some warm and kind of unstable air. It's rain cooled all behind this storm. But again, we're not overly concerned about a tornado touching down anytime soon. But again, a tornado watch is in effect. So right now it's that high wind, heavy rain, marginal hail, nickel to quarter size hail is what we've been seeing. I'll show you the hail track with this storm, and it has come down some, and that's good news. When we were across Coryell and parts of Lampasas and Burnett County, that's where we're getting more of that golf ball size hail. But now we're talking more quarter size. So still can put some dents and stuff, but it's not the busting out window style hail that we had Wednesday across parts of northern Coryell County. So northern McLennan County. Speaking of McLennan County, everything's kind of quiet. We've got some light to moderate showers from Waco south on I-35 down towards Hewitt and Lorena, and eventually down towards Bruceville, Eddy, and Troy. Been watching some scattered little weaker thunderstorms across Bosque and Hill County, but these have really struggled to have much strength to them. And we'll go wider and kind of show you. It's this line developed all off of really this one thunderstorm that was a major storm as it rolled across Coryell County. Likely the strongest rotation was right when it pushed across northern Fort Hood. There was likely a tornado on the ground with this storm, but rain wrapped, and also in an area that fortunately has no population concerns as it was moving across the training grounds there of Fort Hood. The flooding concern is becoming a major issue across parts of Bell County. Just in the time frame of this, we're seeing, again, the yellows you see there, that's 3-inch to 4-inch totals already that have fallen from I-14 northward. And again, this thunderstorm has had a rainfall rate of upwards of 5 inches that could fall per hour, and that's really right on top of I-35 right now. So we'll be here to continue to keep you updated. And again, reminder, if you're away from your TV at times, you can get all the latest updates throughout the rest of the afternoon on our free KWTX weather app.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Justin Early here with Lauren Westbrook. You've been watching our severe weather coverage all afternoon. It definitely began a little earlier than it did the other day, than it did Wednesday, but our team's been hard at it all afternoon.
Yes, and we hope you're all okay. Send us your information. If you're not, we'd love to hear if you can send us pictures or information safely to watch out for what's going on. If you are looking to just get a little break from this, we have a few other topics that we've been working on.
We'll give you a little abbreviated version of our 4 p.m. newscast, and here's the Daily Fort. If you are looking to buy a house, there's a change coming to a little-known mortgage surcharge that could help you if you have a low credit score. It could hurt you a little bit if you have a higher one, though. This is called the Loan Level Price Adjustment Fee, and it's levied by the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Well, the change is meant to make it easier for those with lower credit scores to buy a home. Here's an example of how things are changing as of this coming Monday, May 1st. Let's look at a $200,000 home. If you have a fair credit score from 640 to 659, somewhere in there, and you put a 5% down payment on the house, you're going to pay an LLPA rate of 1.5%. That's dropping from 2.75%. In other words, you're paying a LLPA fee of $3,000 instead of $5,000. So good news there. But if you have a very good credit score, from 740 to 759, you put down a much higher amount of money on the house, 20%, you're paying a 1% LLPA. Now, it may not sound like much, but it's up from 0.5%. So if your credit score is higher, you're paying $2,000 instead of $1,000. So it seems like you're kind of getting dinged there a little bit. And the Federal Housing Finance Agency says this is not meant to punish those with highest credit scores because, again, even with the change, the rate's lower for those with high scores than it is for worse scores. But it's meant to help people trying to buy homes, even if they're limited by income or wealth. Of course, you think about it, you could be very, very poor and still have a very high credit score. It's about the way you use credit. So I don't know. We're going to see what happens with that. It's just, you're trying to buy a house. It's just difficult these days.
Yes, education. It's not everything that you learn in school.
Right. We need to really educate ourselves in this society about finance. Now, number 2 in our Daily 4.
Yeah, let me know if this has happened to you. If you've ever been out and about and you see someone or a group trying to take a selfie, you offer to take the photo for them. I do that all the time. I think it's fun. I don't know if I do the best job, but then they say, no thanks.
Right.
They would rather have the selfie. Yeah. A new study is shedding light on what that may be about, the deeper meaning behind selfies. Ohio State University researchers analyzed 6 studies involving 2,100 people. The results were published Thursday in the journal Social, Physiological, and Personality Science. The research found people did not whip out their phones to take self-portraits only for vanity or for self-promotion, even if they were doing it for social media. Instead, they discovered it all depended on the perspectives those taking the pictures wanted to share. And they say first-person photos, where you're behind the camera instead of in front of it, best represented the physical experience of an event. But third-person photos, like selfies, are better at depicting the deeper meaning of the event. That's very deep.
I think it feels more candid to me if you're doing a selfie. It's more in the moment, more of the moment, as opposed to, you're not going to take a wedding picture and just do all selfies for your wedding. You're going to have someone, establish that and do a nice job. So I can kind of get the idea.
Yeah, and the researchers gave examples of someone at the beach with a friend. They say taking a photo of the ocean can capture the physical experience of a beautiful and relaxing day, but taking a selfie together captures the bigger meaning of spending time with a friend.
Yeah, I like